We are here for Invictus versus Ascent here on the Larry's Memorial Institute. Wispy on the Ghostface, opening it up for North America. Stakes could not be higher here, Rob. North America's last hope versus the Titans of Invictus, wanting to prove that them being in the losers bracket here is a fluke.
That's a pretty insane intro there, honestly, Prion. It really sets us up for these two teams very well. And yeah, absolutely. We are going to find our first chase onto Kexo, who's going to take some nice advantage of the no collision while stalking from Wispy. And we'll take an M1 there. So now no exposed and no being unable to break out the Ghostface out from stock, but we will be injured in this chase, so one shot either way. We are going to make it to the library god pallet and drop this and just try to last as long as possible and chase here. And it looks like Wispy actually wants to leave now.
Yep, and that is a smart play there by Wispy. He's actually stalking Kexo a little bit more for later. The way that these chases often play out on these Ghostface sets on Larry's is that the survivors want to be playing around those god pallets on the bottom side of the map. So Wispy, as soon as he realized he was able to get one of those out of the way, was no longer worth it to commit to Kexo, because if you keep chasing Kexo there, he makes it all the way to the bottom of the map with those two long rooms that have really strong pallets in them, and the game is just gone there. Wispy really wants to protect this top side of the map, which is exactly what you want to see if you're a fan of Ascent.
Now, I do have to pose a question to you here really quick, Prion. What are your thoughts on Corrupt on Ghostface? Because as far as I know, you know, the best teams, they'll stay off gens in the early game until someone has eyes on the Ghostface. We do actually get the exposed onto Dan, which this actually might. We're gonna take the pallet drop and make some distance in. It looks like Spitz is moving in for a body block for Dan as well. But yes, Corrupt on the Ghostface set is, in my opinion, an interesting choice, since we're usually going to see the survivors staying off of gens until someone has eyes.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all here from Wispy, as he's now got two survivors marked. Spitz, does he make anything here? He's got a window, but he's going to struggle to make one of these strong pallets. He does make one of these god pallets here. Gonna be throwing it, Wispy breaking it up, and Wispy here, Rob, he has depleted most of those strongest resources from the bottom side of the map already. This style that he's been playing of seemingly just getting strong pallets out of the way, decommitting, going back for more stock, seems to be working out for him so far, as only Nightlight has completed a gen so far, and it Spitz, Dan, Kexo, they have not been touching the generators. They have been playing altruistically for each other, because if they don't, Wispy's going to be getting those exposed downs. So top side of the map still completely intact. Wispy, although he doesn't have a hook yet, I think he's sitting pretty well.
Yeah, I'd have to fully agree with you there. The way that Wispy is playing this early game is actually really solid, and taking, you know, good advantage of the resources that are being dropped to get them out of the game. That way, like, one half the map is just completely dead, and it's not really going to be easy to chase in that area. So the only disadvantage that I'd say Wispy is at right now is that he has completely lost stock on two different survivors who are fully stocked. And that's really like the only thing, but like that can be really easily re-achieved again. We are going to find Nightlight, who did have some decent progress on the gen, and get a little bit of stock up onto Nightlight before being exposed himself, and we'll be following this chase. Now, will he play for an M1, or will he play for getting power back up? It looks like, oh, we're here for head-on save. That was pretty good from Kexo.
Yeah, insane play there from Kexo. Nightlight was kind of in trouble if the stock continued to tick up, and Kexo, now, does he make this? He does not. Kexo pays for that head-on play. Pallet save potentially coming in here from Nightlight, and he gets it through the killer there. Wispy thought he had it, body blocked from the correct side, and Kexo saved by Nightlight there. Not usually the person that we expect to be pallet saving on Invictus. It's usually Kexo getting those, isn't it? As Wispy denied from getting his first hook. He's got another mark here, though, on Nightlight. 10% haste from that drop leg ninth sheath, and Nightlight trying to make it out of that main area. Doesn't look like a body block is going to come in, and Wispy finally getting his first down here with 2 gens remaining.
Yeah, this is, you know, we're talking about how well Wispy played the early game here, but, I mean, we also have to give some really good credit to Invictus as well for the amount of gen progress they were able to get in the early game as well. 3 different gens popped for, you know, the first hook, which, I mean, is going to be basement, looks like. So this could be a bit of a point of contention here for the survivors of Invictus. if Wispy plays around this really well.
Wispy now stalking down the map. He's going to be going for a kick there on that gen in the long room now. With the basement here, this is going to be pretty nice for him to play around, but there's already a survivor in position to do something about this. It's going to be Kexo there on that Tori, his signature survivor, in the locker, trying to just see if he can get Wispy to decommit from this basement, because if Nightlight goes second here and they're able to just, I don't know, hold this topside area, I think that's one of the only ways that Invictus kind of has this go out of control here. So Dan, Spitz, comfortably working gens here. It's Kexo waiting for the correct opportunity here to go for the save.
Very well said, Prion. Yeah, so right now with the knowledge that Wispy's in basement, yeah, like you said, we're able to just kind of set gens and pop the last two. It will take a little bit of time. Spitz is going to make his way in to try to maybe go for a last-second trade, or see if Wispy like commits too far out to the generators. We are actually going to find Spitz though, which is actually kind of good for Wispy. He's not going to commit to a chase, but that means someone else has to rotate off the gen to go for the save. And, oh, what a tag through the window! Actually, that was a pretty solid tag right there. We are going to be able to get the save though. Just like take note of this, how quick Invictus is to be able to like get off gens and rotate for the unhook. It's pretty.
Oh, he hits the survivor with endurance.
What?
He tried to go for the mark
crazy.
there on Spitz, but he missed. He's still going to get that down onto Spitz, but you have to wonder now, Rob, does he even go for the tunnel out? He does not. Wispy going to be taking that hook here. He senses that the gen progress is a little bit too much, as doubling is Kexo and Nightlight here. And Kexo actually getting off of that gen, intentionally not finishing it to try to avoid the pain res, but no pain res is coming in. Wispy, I guess, sensing that the end is near, is going to go for the basement instead, as these last two gens are surely going to pop in unison, as that's exactly what Invictus is doing here. Save already coming in from that healthy survivor. That's Kexo in the basement, and now Wispy not in a good spot here. He's only got 3 hooks, needs a fresh survivor. He's gonna find Dan, but what does he do from here, Rob? If basement isn't in play, this is pretty savable for Invictus.
Very true, very true. Yeah, I mean, we do get the fresh onto Dan. Looks like Wispy's just kind of holding the hallway here, seeing if someone's going to rotate, I think. But Dan is, yeah, going to be down on the floor. Like you mentioned, basement really not being able to be in play here can make this a bit difficult for Wispy to do much about. Oh, so we might have had an issue here on Wispy's side.
Win condition of 6 stages for fresh or 7 stages. Pedro with the exact same build as Wispy down to the add-ons. So really is going to be a test of killer skill here as Pedro stalks up the map, looking to put Invictus up 1-0 in this series. Towards the main area now, Pedro not going to check those lockers, just trying to find which survivors might be kind of a lookout to figure out where he is in stealth. In these Ghostface sets, the survivors will often be sitting in weird areas to try to get a call out as to where the killer is. Pedro finding some scratch marks here on the top side of the map. Goes for a lean, does find a survivor here, trying not to get revealed. It's going to be Angels in first chase. Going for stalk rather than an M1 is Pedro. Can't quite see the progress of that stalk, but he got at least 50% there. Angels needs to be careful here. Top side is not where you want to be in chase, but it looks like Pedro actually going to be leaving here. He's going back down the map now into the non-corrupted area. I mean, topside corrupt, it's an interesting kind of thing here, because this is topside is where you really want to be holding the gens on this map. It's an M1 killer. But and bottom side is almost always the strongest for survivors. So Pedro kind of forced to chase in the area he doesn't want to here as he gets some stock on Ja. Ja now towards this long room, and it really is the inversion of the classic Larry's map here, as Ascent is kind of forced to run to the top side for safety. It's, again, as I said, really the opposite of what the general game plan is for survivors. Pedro now stalking on to Zaphis here in this long room on the bottom side. Again, not where he wants to be chasing. He's getting eruptions down on these gens, looking for a chase, and Pedro is playing this very slowly and deliberately in his stealth. Back up towards this tallest generator, gets the 99 stock onto Angels. Wispy also in the chase, maybe taking a hit for his teammate here, but Angels has good distance so far. Going over towards, I mean, this is a god pallet, but not from this side. Angels in danger here, needs a hit, and he actually gets the pallet stun there as Pedro tried to swing through the body block from Wispy and ends up getting no hit at all. So really nice play there from Ascent. Pedro forced to leave, trying to find these survivors, kind of making them think that he left. He's still on them though, can't get around the body block. Wispy takes that hit and both survivors will escape to the bottom side here, at least towards this exit gate pallet.
Excellent body block by Wispy there, giving Angels a lot of distance to be able to make it to a good resource. But I don't know if we're able to make it back. We might not be able to. Pedro's being very patient here, so we do get the down, but we did buy a lot of time as well. So this could pay off for Ascent a little bit here. But is it enough to meet the win condition? We'll have to see. I would definitely be curious if we're able to. And this is a very, very interesting stealth spot here by Jaw. And it's not getting found out. That is actually pretty insane, Prion.
And look at that new perk on Jaw there. That's self-preservation, the recently reworked Yunjin perk. Jaw with the elusive status effect in a comp game, possibly the first one we've seen. As Angels trying to body block this god pallet here. Pedro not wanting to kind of swing into that just yet as the endurance runs out. Angels wasting as much time as humanly possible on this god pallet. Going to be in chase once again. Now Invictus, Pedro here, he wants to spread hooks now. Leaves Angels and is continuing to play this bottom side of the map. Again, kind of an inversion of what we usually see from Ghostface players. We'll have to see how Pedro can adapt. He's got 3 survivors injured, and now onto Zaphis in this long room. Gonna be getting rid of yet another god pallet, continuing to bleed the resources off of the map here as Ascent only now finishing their first gen.
You know, I've got to say, Prion, the last time that I questioned Pedro and not tunneling out, I horrendously ate my words. So I'm definitely curious to see how Pedro pulls this off, but like it definitely has a high shot of working. We are going to take our chase down to the bottom side of the map here, looks like. We do still have this god pallet, so we're in an okay spot right now. As we can see, we have some gen progress in the background as well, that we see Jaw is working a gen. And right now, still continuing the chase here onto Zaphis. And actually, might plan on leaving here. We're actually gonna go ahead and oh my goodness, this is really well played by Zaphis so far. We're taking such a long chase right now, and yeah, Pedro might end up leaving this if it goes on for too much longer.
That pathing from Zaphis was top tier there, as he didn't even use any of those strong pallets. These are the kind of chases that Ascent needs if they're going to be able to win this match with the tough win con. Now, I don't think Zaphis will be making another pallet here, as Pedro finally getting him there on that weak pallet in the main area, but what a chase from Zaphis. Potential pallet save, is he in it? Angels with the pallet save, incredible. Just inches away from missing that, as Angels continuing Zaphis' chase there for him, and Pedro forced to leave and commit to another healthy survivor. Not even able to get the stock there. That's going to be 2 survivors injured now, and Angels coming up with a big play to keep his team in this match.
Yeah, that pallet save was massive for Ascent. It looks like we are going to take it down onto Angels once again, but look at the gen progress. We're almost at 1 gen remaining. We actually have 3 different gens being worked right now, and Ascent is honestly in incredible position here. Only really subject to potentially any mistakes to make. So right now we're getting a hook on Angels in basement, and that alone would not be enough to meet the win condition for Pedro. We need to actually see the survivors. We actually need to see more stages than that. So we are actually going to find the some eruption being applied on the gens here, just to kind of slow down what we can.
Now Pedro here, his win is going to be conditioned on whether he can get this tunnel out onto Angels, as Zaphis very highly progressed on a generator. Pedro kicking another one that has serious progress with only 2 gens left. Invictus seems to be in a little bit of trouble here, as Pedro needs to clutch this out. 4th generator completed across the map. Wispy already back on that gen that Pedro had kicked, and he's here. Pedro, though, does not have the stock, as Wispy just going to take an M1 tag and run down the map, presumably to get healed by Zaphis. The save is going to come down to Jaw here, and he's already there. Nice team play from Jaw on the Lara. Pedro, he just doesn't have any stock banked up, Rob. He's only able to take these M1s and run back down the map. As now Pedro going back towards the gen. He's going to be sorely disappointed to find there that Wispy and Xaphis are playing it safe and healing on the bottom side of the map, all the way down by this god pallet. It's not there because Xaphis threw it earlier, but it's still a very safe place. Pedro seems to have some idea of where they are, though. And this is that area, again, that Xaphis had such a good chase in earlier. None of these pallets have been used. Having to kick these with 1 gen remaining is so painful for Pedro, and that's all down to the survivor play of Xaphis earlier in the match.
Very, very true. Yeah, a lot of these resources are still up and available, and Ascent is handling this very, very well. We actually do get the breakout as well onto Pedro, and continuing our chase here, and just forcing Ghostface to go for regular M1s is just really, it's tough for the player to really deal with. Honestly, I mean, look at how many stages Pedro has on the board right now with everything that Ascent's been doing. This is just really phenomenal survivor play here.
Jaw kind of in the open here on the top side, really not where we want him to be, but the other survivors have been playing it safe and healing up on the bottom side of the map now. Jaw and Chase, he's not going to make anything here. Almost gets around that pallet. He gets the stun. Jaw somehow grabbing life from the jaws of death there on that pallet, and he makes the fast vault as well. This is not where you want to die, Jaw. So close to the generator that is almost done. And Rob, he makes a god pallet off the main room. I cannot believe Jaw is still alive.
Yeah, I have to fully agree with you. That was a pretty insane unfolding of events there. And we're finding our next chase here on Angels, who is Death Hook, but mind you, the team is going to be working gens in the meantime. We do get the expose onto Wispy though. Oh, just barely getting the down there as well. That was just the very tip of the blade there, getting the tag, taking Wispy down. So that's going to be 3 stages, 2 fresh here on the board for Pedro. And we're inching our way towards that win condition now.
Halfway to that win condition now is Pedro. This 3-gen is almost non-existent, as the gens are pretty well spread. As long as Ascent is able to play this safe and clean, they should be able to finish. Angels injured here. Chase can't go down. This going into the 3v1 here would be so deadly for Ascent, as Angels needs to make it as far down the map as he can. Needs to be a reset coming in between him and Jaw, as Pedro seems to have some idea of the gen that Jaw was working on before. Xaphis with the save off in the distance, and Pedro now just continuing to play his 3-gen. As Ascent, they need to slow down, recognize the position they're in, and honestly, if I were Ascent, you want to play this as slow as you can and go for that 8-gen kick limit.
Absolutely, yeah. And as we get closer to the win condition, that's going to be necessary, right, Prion? Forcing the gen kick limit to make an appearance here. We are going to take a tag onto Wispy, who's kind of in a slightly bad position here. And yeah, oh, that was very well played by Pedro. Very nice 50 winner here. We are going to get that second hook onto Wispy, marking 4 stages 2 fresh now. So we are getting closer and closer to that win condition there, Prion.
Yep, it's not a fresh hook, but it is still progress towards the win condition, as Pedro stalking towards this generator that's furthest away from the others. It's been regressed so far from eruption here, and Pedro waiting to get that eruption down on the gen once again. But now he's got to stalk all the way back over to this gen on the top side, and I think this has got to be the one that Ascent is working to finish this last generator out. It's Pedro able to find somebody here. It's Wispy, though, dead on hook and injured in the 3-gen, and he's going to go down, Rob. That is not what you want to see if you're a fan of Ascent. I mean, there are survivors working on that gen that Pedro had just kicked on the bottom side, but do they really just finish that before Pedro can get over there and Wispy is dead? I don't think so. No, it's only 40% progress. I think with that death onto Wispy, it is all but over for Ascent unless they're able to just run Pedro for minutes and minutes on end.
Very, very true. Yeah, first survivor dead here. We have 1 gen at the top. It was looking to be Ascent's game here, but Pedro's really turned things around now. Was able to make a pretty nice comeback with switching tunnel out to Wispy, actually. With Angels with 2 stages on board now, and both Jaw and Xaphis fresh hooks, we could be in a sticky situation here, I would say. We actually, oh, what? No way. That was actually a very interesting hiding spot by Jaw there, and it was actually quite an interesting, thing to note that Pedro caught that. Because if I'm not mistaken, Jaw actually has Iron Will.
Jaw with Iron Will and self-preservation there, with getting that elusive status effect when Wispy was hooked, as well as the Iron Will. I mean, and if you really think about it, the Lara Croft skin, it does kind of blend into the colors on Larry's Memorial Institute, but Pedro not going to fall for it, as that is going to be the tie condition reached for Pedro, 6 stages, 3 fresh. Any next hook is the win here for Invictus. We've got scratch marks leading towards the hook here, and the survivor that got that unhook is Angels, already injured here and stalked Jaw, breaking him out of stealth, although it doesn't really matter. Angels needs to survive on this filler pallet for as long as humanly possible. Jaw baiting with the endurance there, trying to last 15 seconds, and he just gets grabbed anyways. No flashlight coming in, and I think that is going to be the win here for Pedro. Just in the nick of time as the last gen is completed, but Invictus pretty cleanly winning this series.
Very, very well said, Prion. Yeah, the first set is going to be taken by Invictus, like you mentioned, and I will say that Ascent had a really nice start to this match. They started out pretty strong here and had quite a few really solid chases that were buying plenty of time for our teammates here. We are actually going to reveal Pedro. Zaphis going to be taking chase into the library, it looks like, and just trying to buy as much time as possible here. But this is going to be the fourth and final fresh hook here, and only Angels with 1 stage is going to be making it out alive.
So Ascent there, I mean, they got pretty close, but a few crucial mistakes on the survivor side there, getting caught in the 3-gen dead on hook and injured, as well as, I guess, just allowing Pedro to win some mind games on some pallets that they probably shouldn't have. And Ascent going to be down 1-0 in this set. Mastermind on this, I believe, is Disturbed Ward. What an interesting map choice for the Mastermind. It's Pedro with that Pop Goes the Weasel, Pain Resonance, Eruption, and Corrupt Intervention with the Egg and the Beetle. So going to be looking for those short throws into walls here. It's, Ascent. They need to come up with something on Survivor here. They don't want to go down 2-0. But honestly, throw edge map there onto Zaphis, but he doesn't quite take damage. Just going to be an M1 here. Looks like Pedro going to be charging up the power once again. He wants to try to zone Zaphis away from the pallet, but not really going to be able to do it on a like weirdly shaped rock tile like this. So Zaphis escapes from that with an M1 and makes it towards the main building.
Yeah, what could have been total disaster turned into, wait a second. No, we actually got mind gamed at main building there. That was pretty unfortunate for Zaphis. But yeah, that could have been a complete disaster, honestly, getting thrown edge map if he was taking an injury there. But thankfully, did not collide with the wall and instead ate an M1. So definitely could have been way worse, but still an early down for Pedro. We are going to move down further into the map here to see what kind of gen progress Ascent has right now, and we do find some, but Pop Goes the Weasel is going to be helping Pedro out here, controlling the gens, slowing things down. We'll be moving right back towards the hook, where it looks like Ja was actually there to get the save, but got interrupted.
Jaw here, he's got that self-preservation active once again, that Yun Jin perk. That's no scratch marks, no pools of blood, and no injured noises. So Pedro not going to be able to chase onto that, as he looks like he's content to kind of proxy camp this hook. He knows that Jaw is somewhere over in this pocket of the map, but the unhook is going to come in from elsewhere, as Pedro might have thought that it was going to be only Jaw lining up for that unhook, but Wispy comes in, grabs his teammate off the hook, and now Zaphis is playing the main building here. Doesn't have an exhaustion perk, but he's still got the haste now out towards this L-shaped pallet in the garden area, and he's going to be pre-throwing that. Zaphis trying to play as safe as he can here. Pedro zoning him with the pallet break. Zaphis over towards a filler, now one of these ruined, burned tiles. So he's just going to be playing this safe, dropping the pallet now back around the other side, and Zaphis now forced into a mind game with Pedro. I'm not sure if he makes it back around one more time. Pedro goes for the, he doesn't go for the lunge, wins the mind game there, and Zaphis down again with only still 5 gens to go.
I'll see you dead.
Very patient by Pedro there. We are gonna see 1 gen pop and 2, maybe possibly 2 more, unless they were doubling. I don't think they were doubling actually. I think those are 2 different gens that are being worked with some pretty significant progress. So right now the gen progress by Ascent is not too bad. They could be seeing multiple gens pop here for the second stage of Zaphis here. We will be using Pop as the Weasel, getting Eruption up as well onto, I believe, Wispy's gen, and going back to the hook here to finish the tunnel out onto Zaphis.
Yeah, and I don't know if I like them letting Pedro use Pop Goes the Weasel there. Also, like, they unhooked Zaphis so quickly. If they think Pedro is not just going to be able to find him here, and it looks like he hasn't found him just yet, as they did pop that unhook right as he was using Pop Goes the Weasel on the gen. This play all comes down to whether Zaphis can stealth. It seems like Pedro is somewhat in the area that Zaphis is in, and yeah, he's going to be found here. Down to 2 gens, and now this all comes down to this chase for Zaphis, forcing the break on the Shack pallet there. Can we get some teammates coming in to help? As Zaphis was the only thing keeping Ascent in that Ghostface set. Now, what does he have for us against the Mastermind? Playing this filler pallet, and he's just going to get 2-tapped there, stuck on the wrong side of that pallet. Easily, Pedro able to bound around the side there and confirm the kill with 2 gens left.
Yeah, this is some really good pressure here from Pedro. Getting, looks like a 4th gen about popped, but it's going to get interrupted by a Pedro. Angel's taking his distance to get away as far as possible right now, but that gen's going to lose a lot of progress with Pop Goes the Weasel. Angel's making his way back over to the gen. We also see Jaw and Wispy on another gen as well, trying to get as much progress as possible. So at the moment, the progress is there, but the chases need to last long enough to see the progress actually turn into gen completions. Angels is back on this gen with about 75–80% progress right now, and Wispy's in chase, so as long as we can last for a little bit here, this should be pretty good from Ascent.
Wispy playing this filler in such an interesting way. Pedro, though, able to rebound off of that undropped pallet and hit Wispy over it. As Wispy now forced to play that main building. He does have a God pallet up here that he can use. And chases on this map, they do have the potential to go long. As Wispy falling all the way out of the window, and he's actually able to confuse Pedro there. 2 survivors have been working separate gens. As Pedro, he doesn't have a Pop Goes the Weasel here, just a dry eruption onto Jaw's gen. And we thought that Zaphis hadn't lasted long enough, but so much gen progress has been spread across the map here by Ascent. We didn't see it until Zaphis was already dead, but they're in a pretty good position to get some outs here. Wispy and Angels already doubling that generator across the map. Jaw preparing to get on a door, and Ascent looking to get a really nice result here with multiple survivors out the door. Wispy in chase with the Mastermind here at this tile in the corner of the map. The exit gates are relatively close here, and Wispy not going to survive there on that filler pallet. Pedro playing that snake gym very well with that first bound around the dropped pallet. And I think if you're Ascent here, you're pretty happy to take a two fresh 6 stages result.
Very true. Yeah, this is looking to be a pretty solid result here for Ascent. 6 stage 2 fresh here. Jaw is going to open the gate, looks like. Angels just needs to make his way over. But if Pedro actually lets this happen, Angels could also get the save, and he does. This could... Wait a second. This could actually...
He's going for a throw.
Oh! Nice body block by Wispy, actually taking that so he can take the endurance.
That was only 1 dash from Pedro. He's going to have a back off cooldown here, trying to get around Jaw. Throws Jaw, but he doesn't hit anything there. Tried to hit him into the tree as Jaw now trying to get to the gate here, but the Mastermind is between him and survival with that Beetle add-on. Jaw needs to avoid getting thrown back into the map. Pedro pulling up that power with 2 survivors in the gate as well, and Wispy gets slammed against the gate. Oh no, but that's not the fresh hook survivor. He goes for the drop, picks him up again. What is Pedro doing here? Dropping Wispy multiple times. Jaw taking a hit for his teammate. And it looks like Ascent is just going to take their outs here. I don't blame them. That was a pretty chaotic situation.
So the plus side for Ascent is they didn't give up another fresh. That's just 6 stage 2 fresh, which is honestly a pretty doable result, I would say. Especially considering like no exhaustions, like this is fantastic. This is a fantastic result. Definitely doable by Ascent, but still, Pedro definitely had a pretty solid performance, I would say. And we'll have to see what happens once we get Invictus on the survivor side and Ascent on the killer side.
As Angels now on the killer with the exact same build down to the add-ons even. Angels going to be looking for those throws short into the edge map or perhaps other walls. Needs to get 3 survivors fresh in 6 stages here for the win. Goes for a rebound immediately there. Not going to land though, as first chase starts with Dan.
Absolutely, yeah. I do have to say, I do love the combination of Egg and Jewel Beetle. This is definitely a really fun and strong combo, honestly. Especially if you're able to get it to work like the way they mentioned, by throwing survivors into the wall or into like another tile that's nearby. And right now, Dan is just kind of very well played by Angels. Actually reading the 50 fake there by Dan, and getting the tag as well. So we're going to take our chase a little bit further into the map here, into Corrupt, trying to die in a really good spot for the rest of our team. And Angels just following this up as much as possible. And really well played by Angels there. Wow. Mechanically, gotta say, both Pedro and Angels are pretty impressive on this killer.
Really confident there of Angels to go for the dashes there on that small pallet rather than the M1. I feel like if I were the Mastermind there, I would have been going for an M1, but Angels knows that he's got the power under control. So now, threatening Spitz here at the shack. Terror radius getting larger as he's back around the backside of the shack. Staying here, actually. Looked like he was going back to hook, but not quite yet. Okay, Angels clearly just trying to proxy this gen and the hook at the same time. Flashbang out from Spitz, blinds him mid-bound there. What a play from Spitz. You heard the clink of the flashbang hit the ground right as Angels pulled up the power. Able to, I mean, it's not gonna, that single play is not gonna win the game, but Spitz managing to stay healthy there is a good bit of momentum here for Invictus.
Absolutely, yeah. With the first survivor sitting on hook right now and multiple gens being progressed right now, Invictus looks to be on a pretty similar track to where Pedro was yesterday, or earlier, excuse me, not yesterday, earlier, last match. I know my words, my bad, guys. It looks like Rocket's actually making his way in to get the save here shortly, seeing if Angels overcommits anywhere. And looks like, yeah, we're actually going to try to interrupt the save here with a 2-man save, actually, so multiple gens getting completed here. Pedro's about to pop another one, and Angels is going to place a tag onto Spitz, and whether or not he commits this chase, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm sure we will see. Looks like we are going to commit this chase so far onto Spitz. Really well played, by the way, taking that vault when he did.
Yeah, and it seemed like the plan there from Angels was to get the camp to second stage and then go for a tunnel out, but the second stage just never comes in. Spitz, though, incorrect pathing there on the generator in the shack. Goes down before he can reach it. Dan and Pedro. Pedro actually sitting on that gen right next to the hook. But it's another second fresh hook here for Angels. Found around the edge map here. There's a rock in the way, unfortunately, though, so that's not going to land onto Pedro. And it looks like Angels now is just going for fresh hooks, as he wants to get up to that win condition the old-fashioned way. Trying to throw Pedro towards the edge map, and he's gonna hit the wall there. Danger for Pedro as he tries to make it over towards this tile. Does he have the distance? He does. Pedro barely making that stun there as Angels stunned up by that pallet. Now playing this pallet gem back around the side. Pedro, nice patience there, going to the short side in response to the bound. Now back around the long side of the pallet and holding W away from it as well. Good mind game there from Pedro. He's able to make more distance onto Angels.
Yeah, this is that was fantastically played by Pedro, considering the position that he was in. Angels definitely looking to get this this down onto Pedro, which Pedro's doing a really good job of delaying as well, by the way. And we should be getting. I know Angels is really trying to play for a third fresh stage here right now, but as you can see, the survivors are free to. Oh my God! Really well played by Angels. The Invictus survivors are free to just sit on gens at the moment, while Pedro's taking a pretty nice chase onto Angels Wesker.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see what Angels is going for here, as this is his third fresh hook. 3 stages, 3 fresh. So now, if Angels is able to get any kill, that's the win here for Ascent with those 3 fresh survivors. as Pedro somehow gets off there. Did he just, like, we didn't see it there on the camera, but did Pedro wiggle?
You know, I think it's entirely possible. There's no stage on, and Angels is back in chase with Pedro right now. I think Angels possibly got a little bit too greedy for a specific hook, and looks like he kind of paid for it, unfortunately, for Angels. And, oh, this is some master weaving here by Pedro. And, oh, wow, well played, well played.
Pedro's still going to eventually go down there, but that is a big time loss for Angels on the killer here. Very highly progressed gen next to the hook. It's going to be a nice pop goes the weasel for Angels, but that win condition that we were talking about still remains. If Angels is able to get any kill here, doesn't matter on what survivor, that would be 6 stages, 3 fresh, and the win for Ascent. As Angels going for that low percentage play, looking for the survivor in the locker. Little does he know that Spitz is stealthing nearby behind a small wall. As Angels patrolling the hook, trying to find that savior. And his only saving grace here is that he did get a massive pop goes the weasel on Invictus's most progressed gen, and it's right next to the hook. Angels clearly wanting to spread injuries here, force this to be a double save onto the survivors. As this generator regresses, he knows that they'll be doubling any other gen in the 3-gen area here. As, yeah, that's going to be Dan and Rocket doubling the main building gen. The save falls on Spitz here. If he can get this without getting thrown, actually looks like Invictus going to be going in for the double save here. That's a very nice play by them. Exactly what you need in this situation. As Angels protecting the hook, Spitz around one side with Dan cleanly getting the save from the other.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to take a couple injuries onto our fellow survivors here. And it's honestly the best case situation here for Spitz and Dan to be the double savers, because Rocket is a fresh hook, and getting Rocket there would spell massive trouble for Invictus. So, yeah, I mean, you know, Angels would definitely commit Rocket if found, especially since there's 1 gen remaining at the moment. And looks like that's exactly going to be the case now. We are on Rocket and getting a tag pretty early into the chase. So right now, Angels might be on the path to victory here if he commits this chase.
But he leaves.
Oh, interesting.
Angel's going to be leaving chase with Rocket. I don't know if I agree with that there, as that is the 4th fresh hook and getting closer to that win condition. Angels, I guess, doesn't want to take this into an endgame situation, wants to continue protecting these gens as he puts that eruption down onto main. And it looks like Invictus is playing slow here, trying to go for a reset as Angels barely misses a rebound there onto Pedro. Chasing him now at this jungle gym. Pedro back around the side to the window. Angels in hot pursuit around this tile. Goes for the bound there, but he just doesn't have the distance as Pedro continuing to survive. Hinder almost kicking in from that Ouroboros infection. As Angels through the window there. Now hindered 4% is Pedro. The bound misses as he just takes the window, and Pedro should be making this pallet here. What a fake there out of Pedro, lasting just a little bit longer at this tile. And Angels goes for the window again. Surely now he's going to get Pedro before he reaches the pallet. Yeah, it's going to be the down onto Pedro. But Dan coming in for the pallet save. Does he get it? He does.
Oh my God. That is fantastic for Invictus right now. Ascent is in a tough position. They're going to pop that main building generator. Spitz is working right now. And if Angels can get up there fast enough, he can still get the down, but will not be getting the, will not be preventing the gen from being completed. So as we can see, Dan is already on a gate and gets the down as well. That is just one of the many facets of being on a cross-ping match. And there's Rocket stealthing nearby. Because if Angels is able to find Rocket, that would be fantastic for Angels.
Yeah, Angels decommitting from that slug, searching for what survivor was doing a door here. As now, what is Angels' plan here? Rocket has to be picking up Spitz already over by the main building. And it looks like Angels is just fishing for that fresh hook survivor here in Rocket. He's right next to the hook. Looking in the locker even. Angels, you've got a down right there. You just need to get a kill on any of these survivors. This is going to be really tough here for Ascent. I mean, if all of these survivors are standing and Angels knows that he can't hook near a gate with 4 survivors standing because they'll just go in for a triple save, he needs a confirmed kill here. Now back towards this exit gate. What can Angels find? Lots of scratch marks leading to the gate there. He needs to get an edge map throw, keep these survivors in the map. Dan in chase now at this pallet gym. Gonna be in the same situation that Ja was in the last match. He needs a throw. Angels back towards the other gate now. He's judging that it's not quite open yet, but that looks like a lot of red lights, Rob, and it looks like this set is going to be slipping away from Ascent in a 0-2 fashion. Angels just unable to get it done in the endgame.
Well, but now we'll be moving into the Spirit set, which is going to be very it's gonna be very interesting to see how this unfolds. Honestly, we will have Ja on Spirit here, which looks like it's gonna be very interesting with the classic Dragon's Grip here on the build. But also considering that this is on ARP now, the pick of Pain Resonance is now allowed on Spirit with the Winter Circuit, which has been honestly pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, Ja here playing the Spirit for Ascent. He does play a few killers for this team, and Spirit is one of them. Usually we would see him on only Survivor, but Ja here in the clutch for his team, looking for a Survivor on the edge map here with the Spirit. Seems to really think that a Survivor is stealthing here, going all the way around the back side of the map with that stack of tires there, the edge map trash piles. There is a Survivor in a locker here. This is a Survivor with Unbreakable for the people and Second Wind, so that is a Survivor that Invictus really, really wants to be unhooking people. Cannot let that Survivor get chased first, as Ja giving up and going down the map to start applying eruptions and Dragon's Grips.
Which should definitely, give us a little bit of a give Ja a little bit of a heads up here into the match. Now, I will say most teams, yep, and there we go. We have we actually have Dragon's Grip up right now. It looks like, and one of the things about Dragon's Grip is the fact that it's usually unexpected, right? Most teams don't really expect it. It is a bit of an expectation for it to be on Spirit and Clown. Those are two pretty common sets to see Dragon's Grip on, but it's usually unexpected until it actually happens, right? So now that we know about it, we play a little bit more carefully around it, or we play very aggressive with it. Say, for instance, if someone's oh wow, that was very close by Nightlight. But we usually either play very careful around it mid-match, or in the late match when the Spirit is chasing the tunnel out, we'll play more aggressively for it. Oh, Nightlight's pulling off the item tech there, and it almost worked, but not quite, unfortunately for Nightlight.
John not falling for the Spirit item tech there, and if you guys at home don't know what that means, the sound of dropping an item makes the same sound as a slow vault. So when Spirit is in phase, it can be used to confuse her in certain areas. So Nightlight gonna get put up on the hook there, but regardless of the failed item tech, Nightlight had a great chase there, dodging one full phase. That's more than we can usually expect from a chase against Spirit in DBDLeague.
Very true, very true. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a pretty solid chase by Nightlight, right? But right now we see one gen's popped and 4 to go. So Pedro and Spitz are on 2 different gens right now, and it looks like Dan is actually lurking for the save nearby. Now, interesting thing about Dan's build, no exhaustion perk whatsoever. And this is against Spirit, by the way, mind you. He's just going to be playing for the unhook and just really playing to protect the tunnel out, really, which is a pretty interesting looking build here.
Yeah, Dan, very comfy in this locker here, and he just breaks out at the last second, and he's not going for the save. What is he doing? Okay, he knows that Ja is just camping this way, and I guess you know what he's doing? Actually, Rob, he's setting up a pallet for Nightlight to lithe off of here and avoid this tunnel out.
Oh,
but it looks
wow.
like Ja just going to be taking the trade, and now going for the tunnel out on Nightlight. So that play was really nice there out of Dan, but ended up not being 100% necessary, as Nightlight was in no danger there right at the beginning. But now Ja down towards the top side of the map, and he is going to be on Nightlight's trail here.
That was a very impressive catch by you, Prion. I love that. Yeah, that was very, very nice to see. That we're setting these kind of things up for our teammates here to kind of help them out in chase, especially if they're being tunneled out. That was just really, really good communication there between the team here. Ja is going to continue chase onto Nightlight, who I believe just used live. But right now we are playing. Oh wow! I didn't even hear him vault. It's because of quiet, of course. That's on Nightlight's build. This is a pretty excellent build here for Nightlight to use, honestly.
Nightlight trying to dodge another phase here. He's playing this car pallet, drops it instantly back around the side, doubles back towards the pallet, and he's actually able to confuse Jaw there, continuing to survive against this Spirit now towards the Azarov's main building. Nightlight kind of running in circles here. He doesn't have that quick and quiet. Jaw going for a phase here, back towards the window, and there's not really anything Nightlight can do there. He lost his item from that item tech before, so just gonna go down once again. And now it's on Invictus to see if they can stop this tunnel out from coming through.
Very, very true. We are going to see the second hook on Nightlight come through at 3 gens remaining. We can see that Pedro and Spitz are both sitting on gens right now, trying to get as much pressure as they can. We should be down to 1 gen, I would say within like the next couple of minutes or so. Dan setting up for the pull once again, might even be able to get 4 of the people off, which would be pretty good for the remainder of the match here, especially considering that we have. Actually, we might actually just be able to see a full reset without even worrying about 4 of the people, which would be really good for Invictus here, especially since Jaw is currently overcommitting to the opposite side of the map. They are going to get Dragon's Grip up on the Shack gen, but so far no one's touching it. They're just letting the gen regress for a little bit until the cooldown is off.
Yeah, and Jaw just completely decommitting from this tunnel out because of the gen spread on the bottom side of the map. But I mean, this is conditioned on Jaw actually being able to find something on the bottom side, because if he just runs around and kind of kicks these gens over and over, that's not going to get him the win in this game. He needs to find chases, and Spitz and Pedro are just insane on the stealth right now. Jaw not able to find anything so far. Spitz and Pedro, we've even got the urban evasion here back towards the gens. No Dragon's Grip there for Pedro. Now calling out to his team that it's probably on a different gen.
And another gen pops as well. The main building is going to see completion here. And for the people actually coming through, instead of resetting while Jaw was down bottom side of the map, they were actually doubling the main building generator, which is pretty, it was risky, but it worked for the generator being completed there. Really impressive. Dan is just going to accept his fate in the corner of the map, near no other generators at the moment. So this is a pretty good spot for Invictus to be in, especially considering if you look at the survivor HUD there, we see Pedro and Spitz both on 2 different gens here with good progress. So this should be seeing Endgame rather shortly, I think.
Yeah, Pedro and Spitz doing a great job to break that 3 gen on the other side of the map, and Nightlight, the Death Hook survivor, able to stealth out Jaw there on the top side of the map. Dan will not be dying on hook here, not just yet, as Jaw phasing towards this generator that has extremely high progress from Spitz or Pedro. Not going to find the survivor that's on it, though. The stealth from these Invictus survivors is insane, as Jaw completely misses Pedro there as he stealths towards the middle of the map. Spitz as well. Jaw isn't even anywhere near him, and they're already way away from the gens. Just really clean and safe survivor play so far from Invictus.
Extremely, yeah. And Pedro's going to start a whole new gen just to make something else for Jaw to have to pay attention to now. So that's, yeah, again, this is very clean play from Invictus survivors. This is the kind of things like you don't really think about until you see like a top team do this kind of stuff, and you're just like, wow, I never even thought of this. This is pretty impressive. And Jaw right now kind of struggling to find anybody, searching lockers. The Invictus survivors have been, like you mentioned, Prion, stealthing very well, and not allowing anyone to get found right now, with still gen progress still inching up towards completion.
Yeah, absolutely. As Jaw still unable to find any survivors here. He technically has his 3 gen, but Invictus is playing this so slow that he can't even seem to get any chases going. As Pedro continuing to crank this with the deja vu. Jaw, he's actually opting not to phase over here because he doesn't want to miss where that survivor is stealthing. And now Pedro with the urban evasion. Jaw finally finds him, and that's going to be the injury onto Pedro here, putting his life on a timer as that second phase is about to come out any second.
And the second is now. We're finding our next chase here on the Pedro, and oh, very well played. And we're actually going to be able to get the pallet drop and make our way all the way topside. And Jaw just does not want to commit to that, with good reason as well, right? He does not want to commit to topside chases because none of your gens are there. They're all bottom side. So we're coming back down to the bottom side of the map, down to Shack. finds Spitz actually, who was trying to stealth off away from the shack. And right now, Spitz actually makes a masterclass of a stealth move away from the tile and is able to make a ton of distance here. Jaw finally catches on, but this is already pretty impressive from our survivors from Invictus.
Yep, Spitz finally getting hit himself and now running down towards the top side of the map. Dan shadowing him here, goes for a firecracker. I can't tell if it actually hit the spirit there, as Dan still takes the M1 regardless. And a kill would be really good here for Ja. He just needs a kill onto Dan or possibly the fresh hook of Spitz. It looks like he's prioritizing the fresh hook. Spitz trying to play this main building, playing on the corner here to try to confuse Ja with the audio. It's not going to work though, as Spitz, the fresh hook, going to be downed at the main building. Double coming in from Nightlight and Pedro all the way on the other side of the map. I mean, unless Painrez comes in here, it is going to be lights out for Ja. And Painrez comes in right at the last second as Ja now going to be looking for a phase down to that gen. Unless he judges that it's already gone. And yeah, he's judging that he can't make it to that gen anyways. Wants to get the confirmed kill onto Dan here with the phase. And Dan going to be going towards the edge map. He knows his fate is sealed. He's just running in circles around this trash pile. Dan going to be downed there. And now what does Ja do? Does he pick up? Okay, he is going to go for the pickup on the Death Hook survivor. Possibly can get something here in the end game. He really wants to get more than just the kill on the Death Hook.
Absolutely, he definitely wants to get to more stages than he has right now, right? Like at the moment, we have, you know, Dan dead now, 3 stages, 1 fresh. And we also have Spitz with 1 stage, has Dead Hard in the back pocket, and of course Nightlight with 2 stages. And right now, I think that Ja would want to go for Pedro, right? Pedro or Spitz would be a good idea to go for, honestly. Pedro probably the better of the 2, just considering that would be the last fresh hook for Ja to achieve here. And it looks like we're actually going to find Spitz, which is still not bad considering he has 2 other stages to give up.
Spitz has the Dead Hard here, though. There's no pallet for him to time it on, though, and it's just not going to work. Spitz not able to hit the DH there, out in the open as Pedro showing himself running towards the gate. Spitz going to be put up on the hook, and all things considered, that is a pretty good find here for Ja in the end game. We're going to be racking up some more stages here for Ascent. The other 2 survivors leave out the door, and I mean, yeah, I'd be really happy with finding Spitz there if I was Ja. Obviously, you want the fresh hook, but Pedro with Urban Evasion on the survivor with the quietest breathing in all of Dead by Daylight, I don't think you're going to find that.
Very, very well said, Prion. Yeah, 8 stages, 3 fresh, not a bad result at all for Ja. Pretty well played, and I would say we'll have to see what Invictus is going to do on the killer's side.
Oh, welcome back, everybody, to the Azarov's resting place. Pedro looking to put Invictus up with a solid 3-0 in this series. Got the exact same build as Ja did last game, but he's actually got a little bit of a different add-on here. I believe that is the duration add-on there from the uncommon tier, as Pedro into the corrupted area here, searching for a survivor, going for a phase right off the bat. Has he seen something? Doesn't look like it, but he is going to find a survivor at this TL right after he comes out of the phase. Pedro already searching for that first hit. He's going to, get a little bit messed up there by Ja, not going to the pallet as Pedro expected, but Ja still in danger here as that phase recharges, walking away from the husk, and Ja still staying uninjured here. Really nice stuff so far. Ja looking to win this mind game. He gets blocked by the Spirit's husk, and Pedro winning that mind game there. Ja, I mean, I like that play from Ja. He was guessing that Pedro was going to short phase again, but this time he was wrong. So Ja now injured in chase, not going to be making it anywhere. And if you look at the gen progress, it's going to be an explosive start from Ascent. They're not going to be too upset about how fast Ja went down.
Definitely not, because they're going to definitely be able to pop this gen here, whether it's before Painrez or after, though. We don't know just yet. I think it's going to be... Oh, actually, no Painrez to up top to really work with. So we're actually going to see that gen pop for pretty much free. So really well played by Ascent getting that gen pop. Angels is on another gen as well with about half, like 50% progress right now. And looks like with Jaws hook being top side, they're free to work bottom side gens and should be able to break this bot side 3 gen We also have a 3-gen top side though too. So the next chase, hopefully seeing that the 3-gen down bottom side is broken, they can actually work on popping the top side 3-gen as well, and should be a pretty good position for Ascent to be in. But of course, they need to see that come to fruition. The first unhook coming through onto Jaw. His only exhaustion perk, by the way, just got completely nullified with that tag into the BT.
A phase coming in onto Jaw here. He's playing a pallet, but he just doesn't win the mind game there. Jaw, I mean, maybe it was actually Pedro there with the duration add-on, not usually the one you see on Spirit. Jaw thought that Pedro would come out of the phase there before reaching the pallet, but just gonna go down once again in exchange for 2 gens done for Ascent. It was a 4-3 gen split here for Ascent, and it was really, really well played that Wispy and Zaphis were able to double out that gen on the top side, immediately break that 4-gen, but now their focus needs to shift to getting Jaw out of this tunnel now. They cannot let him go here, and look at this build from Wispy. If he's able to get this unhook without the killer being nearby, it's going to be a almost 3-second heal there with We'll Make It, Do No Harm, Desperate Measures, and Botany Knowledge on this survivor. Wispy now in chase, does not get hit there, but he needs Pedro not to be here. This build does absolutely nothing if Pedro is anywhere near the hook, and if you're Pedro, why would you not be camping?
Yeah, very, very true. The only thing though is that I don't know if Pedro actually knows that Wispy's rocking such a crazy build. We are actually gonna, we're gonna have to kind of focus on both the unhook and the gen being worked right next to the hook as well. So some really good split pressure here from Ascent, and we will actually be getting the unhook here onto Jaw, getting the borrowed time, and then of course we're gonna see. Look at how fast that heal is from Wispy. Oh my goodness, that is insane, Prion.
And Jaw actually able to survive that phase, as now he's going to be able to have a body block coming in from Wispy, making it towards the middle of the map here, and Pedro has just been stripping that endurance off him instantly off the hook. Jaw trying to go around the pallet there. What a play from Jaw. He makes Pedro whiff completely, crouching out of the pallet back towards the killer, and now he's got a chance to make Shaq. Phase coming in once again. He's going to be stuck at a TL. Goes for the double fastball, and he lands that too. Jaw, no way. Almost making it over back towards this other jungle gym here, trying to chase for his life, keeping Ascent in this match away from that match point, now towards the split bus. Jaw, how much longer can you last? He's got another filler. Phase coming in from Pedro, but he doesn't get it. Pedro hits him through the pallet, and Jaw's life is finally over, but look at the gen progress from Ascent.
Yeah, like what a tunnel out, right, Prion? Lasting, I think, all 5 gens? No, okay, that was a double. Okay, my hopes are kind of up for Ascent right now. But that's a 4-gen tunnel out there by Jaw. Considering that it's Spirit, that is impressive. And just some really, really good, some really good micro plays and chase there from Jaw. Just kind of able to last a long time. And now we'll have to see how we're going to play this 3v1. We are going to find Angels who is balance landing, but do we get balance off without a tag? I don't think so. Yeah, we don't. But we will get some good distance away here, looks like. And Angels might go down in this next chase here if we're not careful.
Angels down there on this tile. There is a survivor nearby. What is going to be gone for here? Flashlight out from Wispy. He gets the save. What? Wispy hovering to keep Ascent in this match. What an angle there from Wispy, as Angels now towards the edge map here, trying to buy as much time as he can. He's got lockers here. He's got an edge map that he can kind of play, getting as far away from that gen that Zaphis is doing as humanly possible. And now with this fresh hook coming in onto Angels, it's going to be down to Wispy here. How can you stealth? How can you play altruistically for Angels? Can you buy enough time for Zaphis to finish that gen? He's so far away. As I don't think that was pain resonance, was it?
I don't believe so. I don't think that Pedro had a pain resonance
still
nearby.
3 stacks.
Yeah, still 3 stacks. So pretty unfortunate for Pedro not to be able to use a pain resonance there. That could be a pretty big factor into not being able to meet the win condition here. But we'll have to see. Pedro's obviously a very strong killer player. Definitely has a pretty good chance. And here's that. Oh my goodness. Look at, and with leader on as well, that is just insane healing speed. Wow, that is incredible.
And this is such a smart play from Ascent. Like, you gotta put this build on a survivor that's so confident in chase that they don't need an exhaustion perk, and that's exactly what you have here with Wispy as he's trying to play around this phase once again. Staying alive there, Pedro with the short phase. Wispy wins the mind game. These fresh hooks need to last in chase, as Xaphis did get hit with the Dragon's Grip across the map. Now Wispy in chase once again. It looks like Pedro might have been decommitting going down the map here. He wants to try to convert on Xaphis with the exposed. Xaphis trying desperately to make this shack pallet with the exposed. He's going to land it, but still, the phase coming after this. Xaphis has the lithe. He's not out of trouble yet, Rob, as Xaphis going edge map to try to dodge this phase. He's hiding behind a pile of tires as the phase comes in, and Pedro has the game sense to find this hiding survivor, and that's going to be the exposed down onto Xaphis. Doubling a gen in the distance, though, are Angels and Wispy and Pedro. He needs more than this.
Yeah, almost an extremely impressive move there from Xaphis. We are going to see Angel's gen here take a pain resonance. We have, I think, more pain resonance hooks down bottom side than we do top side. So that was a pretty free pain resonance hook onto Xaphis there. And excuse me, I had to sneeze. Sorry about that. And Angel's gen is actually going to get interrupted top side as we're kind of baiting the balance landing here. If should Pedro commit to Angels, looks like that is going to be the case. We are going to. Actually, no, we're going to phase down bottom side again.
Looks like Pedro here, he's going to be valuing the fresh hook of Wispy over keeping the gen progress to a minimum. As look at the medkit heal coming in from Wispy there in seconds. Xaphis, full HP as Wispy now in chase. Once again, he needs to last here as the final fresh hook, putting the hopes of Ascent on his back. He loses the mind game, going to be taking an M1, but the auto aim, Pedro misses the M1, and that's going to be a hit taken by Xaphis. Altruism from the survivors of Ascent, as now Xaphis shadowing chase as Angels finishes the gen. Pedro misses the swing, even on the injured survivor there, as Xaphis continues to live, goes down on the pallet here, but the gates are split. Angels going to be on the top side gen. Wispy with the phase coming towards him immediately. Spirit looking for that hit as Wispy trying to path around Pedro, blocking that window with the husk. Short phase though from Pedro. Wispy has been lights out and calling out these short phases. Wispy has to make it out of here somehow, and Xaphis has Unbreakable in the background. 3 survivors alive. Wispy betting that he can reach that door as the phase coming in. Gonna land there, but how much charge is left, Rob? Even with that rusty flute, Angel's gonna be body blocking for Wispy, and Xaphis now back towards the shack, possibly a hatch. Wispy and Angels are out the door, and Ascent going to be leaving out the doors in this survivor game against Pedro's Spirit, and Xaphis is the final survivor left, and I don't think that was enough for Pedro.
Oh! Yeah, and Xaphis will be going down here, but that was just very well played by Ascent there. Incredible job there. And just the build that Wispy brought in was just such a wrench in the gears for Pedro there. Not really expecting a full heal build there.
Doctor is a very M1 heavy, communication heavy set on the Dead Sands. Pedro, this is one of his signature killers as one of the top 1v1 players in the world. And this is going to be a serious hurdle for us. This set is heavily favoring Invictus.
I would definitely have to agree with you there, but we'll have to see. After that last match, the Ascent survivors definitely showed they have some extremely high-level coordination here. And that's going to be very necessary for Doctor sets. So I'm very curious to see how after, following that Spirit match, how is their coordination going to be now in this Doctor set here? I'm definitely looking forward to that. We are going to find our first chase onto Wispy here, and we'll be denying the pallet drop here. Wispy realizes that, just sends his chase over to this. I don't even know what you call this tile here. It's a very weird tile. Not too familiar with this.
This is a brand new tile that was only introduced with the Dead Sands. I don't even know what it's called, but it's super interesting to play. as Wispy able to force the break on one of those 2 pallets. Doesn't get the vault there either, but he's playing around this tiny little window around the backside as well, buying some more time. Wispy eventually going to go down here in the corner. And I mean, given the resources that he had there, I think that's a pretty good first chase for Wispy. Giving over 2 stacks of that save the best for last, forcing Pedro into the edge map here. He does have a pain resonance, but still, I think not a bad start for Ascent.
Yeah, definitely a good start here. I will say it is very interesting how we are actually, instead of deciding to play altruistically and take hits for our teammates here, we're actually instead deciding to just split gens and just let Wispy have his chase, right? Which is really interesting because as you can see, there's a lot of gen progress on the board right now, but that first down did come in decently quick for a Doctor set specifically. I don't think it was a bad chase in general, but it was definitely quicker than usual for most Doctor sets that I'm used to, because I'm very used to like the first chase being taken, and then of course we have a body block come in and take a hit for them, or we have head on come in and stun the killer, etc., etc. Like the first chase usually lasts a while because we have so much coordination with our teammates. But this time we just decided, all right, Wispy, just take your chase, last as long as you can, and we're gonna pump 3 different gens, and that's kind of like that's an interesting strategy now. Because now we have a gen popped, another one's about to pop, and 2 more have just been started with some decently good progress so far.
Yeah, and it seems like your Wispy is going to go second stage. If they're going to send anybody in for this save, it's going to want to be Zaphis, as he is the obsession, and strip off those stacks of save the best for last. Static Blast coming in. Going to put Jaw into tier 3, but it only hits Jaw. So good stealth there from the survivors of Ascent, as Zaphis in trouble at this tile. Doesn't want to get found by Pedro, but Pedro able to find him somehow there. Now Zaphis contending with those shocks as he's trying to make it back to the pallet. Pedro misses the swing there. Incredible pathing out from Zaphis. He's going to lose a mind game and get sent back towards the side of the map with the completed gens. Wispy unhooked in the distance. And it looks like Pedro is judging that he can't go for this tunnel out now. Zaphis opting not to play this double pallet as he runs now down towards a pallet gym, able to kind of divert his pathing there and make it take a little bit longer, but he's never going to make the pallet there without a body block against this Doctor. So 2 gens to go. 2 survivors have been hooked. 3 stages here for Pedro, and this is anyone's game right now, Rob.
Absolutely, yeah. Another pain resonance will be coming through for stage 2 fresh now. And of course 2 gens remaining as well, with I think at least 1 other gen with decent progress, right? So right now Ascent is in a pretty okay position. Not too bad, not too great, but still definitely with this to make something pretty good happen here. We are going to see multiple survivors splitting different gens. It looks like Angels is going to be in chase here somewhat soon, and Pedro recognizes where Angels is at. We have a jungle gem to work with here. Actually, this looks like a jungle gem or a 4-lane. I didn't really get a good look at it. Either way, we aren't going to be able to play it, so it doesn't really matter that much. We're going to take the tag and leave. Head over to Shack here. I don't know if we're actually going to make it before Pedro was able to actually just get the down. We might be seeing a basement hook here, which could turn the tides of the game, but it looks like Pedro actually wants to go for a pain resonance instead. And that was rapid brutality, by the way, that gave Pedro so much haste, able to catch up to that, to get her down there.
Yeah, and you'd hope that Ascent is calling out the perks here. At least save the best for last is in play. You don't really notice that rapid brutality is in play unless you can detect the minute differences in the killer's haste. But at least with the save the best for last in play, Ascent should be able to deduce that Rapid is also here and start sending Zaphis in for body blocks. It hasn't necessarily mattered just yet because he's only been at 2 stacks for most of this game, with 1 full chase onto Zaphis, completely resetting him. So shock lands onto Wispy here. This is not who you want in chase. I think this is the only way that Ascent get 4K'd here if they lose Wispy entirely. Now Wispy over towards the Shack. He's going to need to pre-drop this Shack pallet, avoid the shocks, but he still lands the shock there. Pedro denying that shack pallet away from Wispy, and he's going to need a hit here from a teammate. Zappos trying to go for the body block here. He is going to take it and throw the shack pallet there for Wispy. That's so much more distance, and looks like Pedro actually not opting to tunnel out Wispy, goes for that doctor drop shack pallet mind game with the shock, but Zappos sees it coming and leaves the shack. Continuing chase here now onto this double pallet. Not really where you want to be against the doctor here. Zappos runs directly into the killer. I mean, these double pallets are pretty weak against the doctor unless you're able to pre-drop them with distance. So Zappos going to be put up on his second hook here. And Ascent doing a pretty good job to deny the save the best for last stacks, but they still need more gen progress.
Very, very true. Yeah, they definitely need some more gen progress. The hook stages are starting to climb a little bit. And I don't know if that's entirely a factor of the fact that we're on dead sands, or if that's just how the strategy was starting to unfold in the early game. But either way you spin it, that's where we're at currently. We are going to find Wispy, which is not good at all for Ascent here, because now our tunnel out is in chase, possibly the final one. We are going to take a tag right there. Now we're going to have rapid brutality up. Pedro's going to catch up really quickly. And it looks like we might be able to drop this pallet, but it looks like Pedro's actually going to play this this side of the pallet here. He is going to find Wispy going that same direction, so there should be a down on the pallet. If anyone's nearby, they might be able to play for a pallet save. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yep, Wispy downed on the edge map here. This is going to be the kill for Pedro. But, I mean, both of these last two generators are close. Angels could be able to finish his solo gen by the shack here. Ja and Zappos are really close to finishing that double gen. It looks like they had 3 gens almost done there, Rob, as 2 generators pop, and neither of them were the one that Pedro committed to kicking. As now, into the end game here is Ascent. They cannot have Ja get found, as with the kill already onto Wispy, they need to save as many stages out the door as they can. Zappos, the death hook survivor, walking into the killer's face, dropping a pallet, and that's going to be Angels, the survivor with 1 hook stage, found here on the shack, looking for a body block possibly here. That's the fresh hook. Ja at the shack. Is he going to be taking a bold body block here for Angels? Doubling back on the shack, possibly going for a hatch play here, as remember, the shack on Eyrie of Crows spawns inside, not outside, and that's going to be Zappos downed near the door. It's almost done. Pedro going to be just taking the kill on the death hook survivor. And I mean, that is a good situation for Ascent, but they need these other 2 survivors to escape.
Very, very true. We might find Angels here shortly. Ja should be getting this gate completed here rather soon. But is it going to be enough? I think it is, actually. This should be the gate opening here, and that's gonna lead to 5 stages getting out of the door here, which is pretty solid considering how quickly this game became very chaotic for Ascent here. We will be going up against a win condition that isn't too out of the woods for achieving here. Should still be doable, but it won't be something that's going to be like completely impossible to achieve. We are going to see Wispy going into the map here, using static blast to get the location of 3 different survivors. Everyone but Rocket here will be found out, and we're actually going to find our chase here onto Dan. And we are actually looking pretty close to getting a tag here, so Wispy might be getting this M1 here rather shortly. I did have a look at the build here recently. What? Did we actually get away with that? That is insane. Wow. I did have a look at the build here that Wispy's bringing in, by the way. It's a very interesting doctor build, and I am curious if it's going to get value.
Wispy landing that first hit there onto Dan. As Dan immediately pathing towards the shack. Very smart. As what a strange build from Wispy with that Gift of Pain, Pain Resonance combo. Almost betraying the fact that he's going to not be going for a tunnel out here. The Gift of Pain only gets value when you spread those hook stages. As now immediately converting onto Spitz here. He's going for another healthy chase. Interesting play there from Wispy. He's got a pallet gem here. Spitz in chase. Goes for the shock. Gonna deny that pallet, but does he make it back around? I think Spitz should have the drop on this, so Wispy has to go for another shock. Should be getting the hit here as Spitz going to be tagged up back towards the middle of the map again. And maybe this is what Wispy is going for with the Ruin here, hoping that he can knock these survivors off of gens while he's in chase with Spitz.
Absolutely, yeah. We are actually going to interrupt the gen as well here. Ruin going to be getting some decent value here, especially as Wispy decides to switch up targets here with 2 different injuries on the board. 3 now with the inclusion of Pedro here, and 1 gen popping here. This is actually some pretty good spread pressure here from Wispy. Getting a lot of injuries on the board and interrupting a lot of gens here. Ruin should be taking down the gen progress pretty nicely, actually. Oh, that was very well played by Wispy. We're going to get the down here on the Pedro. And first hook coming in at 4 gens left. And actually, even though there's a gen completed, it's just not a bad spot for Ascent to be in right now.
Yeah, very interesting split pressure from Wispy there, and it kind of works out for him. He's got 3 survivors injured right now, going for a pain resonance hook. Gonna get that gift of pain onto Pedro as well. And it seems like Invictus opting to play this slow and heal, as he's going to find 2 survivors there with that static blast. 3, actually. One of them was behind him. Not opting to chase Spitz there, as Wispy thinks that the unhook is going to be coming in. He's not exactly correct just yet. He's going to be cutting off that survivor that was thinking about unhooking, but now opting to play this shack. He knows that a survivor was working this gen near the shack and try to land a kick. Well, no, he's still got Ruin up. What am I talking about? Kicking Wispy, trying to get as much build value as he can around this hook.
Very true. Now, it's worth mentioning that Doctor is one of the 4 killers where if Ruin is the only hexpert brought in, that the survivors are not allowed to cleanse it until someone's either dead or 1 gen is remaining. Now, that's something I wanted to bring up because I just remembered, okay, wait, Doctor's one of the killers with the special Ruin rule. So the survivors are not allowed to cleanse. This is actually a very good decision here by Wispy. It's just free gen regression whenever he chooses to actually like let it, work for him. And right now we're just able to interrupt gens where we can. Pedro's about to go second unless someone's here for the save. I don't think they are. I think Pedro will be going second, and there it is. And 4 gens still remain with a death hook survivor now. This is actually insanely good pressure for Wispy right now.
It would have had to be Spitz there, the injured survivor going for the save, as Rocket was put into tier 3 multiple times. Dan going to be taking a injury there, and Wispy, you got to imagine he's trying to find Pedro already. Gonna have to contend with that shack pallet. As you know, Invictus is not going to let a survivor die without the use of the shack. As sees Rocket able to get more and more rude regression onto that gen. Finds a survivor edge map, and I think that is the one he's looking for, as we see the pre-drop coming out from Pedro, forced to play a pallet gym edge map, and now Pedro only has a couple of fillers standing between him and being sacrificed, as Wispy searches and searches for this tunnel out early in the match on dead stands. Altruistic hit gonna come in there from Rocket. Rapid brutality triggered for Wispy, as Pedro will be making this jungle gym. With or without a shock, I'm not sure. Around the pallet, around this locker here, no head on in there. As Pedro losing more and more distance over towards this double pallet. They weren't able to play these last time, but Pedro needs to survive as another gen is done in the distance, and he's able to get the pallet drop, Rob, lasting just a little bit longer.
That is incredibly well played by Pedro. Very, very, very good prediction for which way Wispy will be trying to get the tag. But we are actually going to come back with a body block from Rocket here, and the reset coming through as well. Pedro just trying to stay alive as long as possible, because right now with the death hook chase in progress right now, resets coming through, trying to give body blocks to Pedro wherever possible. But that's kind of all they can do at the moment to keep Pedro alive, is just keep giving body blocks. The gen pressure is not there right now, especially with Ruin still up.
Yeah, and they're resetting people just outside the chase to come and give Pedro another body block. So you have to wonder, where is the gen pressure here from Invictus? This needs to result in Pedro either lasting the entire rest of the match or forcing Wispy to leave, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. It's shocked again back around the window side of this Ormond tile. Pedro goes for the fast vault and gets it. What an angle there from Pedro, lasting even longer back towards the pallet on this Ormond tile, holding W away from it now, back into a different area of the map, and he's forced to leave.
And Prion, this is why Pedro has been the #1 Matter player for quite some time, right? I mean, just look at that chase. That's evidence of it right there, right? That was just incredibly well played by Pedro. And despite the massive amount of pressure that Wispy has on the survivors in right now, that was just a game-saving chase from Pedro right there. and possibly could even lead to the game actually like fully being saved for Invictus. This could have spoiled the match so hard for Invictus with all the pressure that Wispy has right now. But Pedro's chase might have just saved the game entirely.
Invictus is not out of the woods yet, though, Rob. They are able to reset Pedro. Only one survivor has been working on a gen. That's Rocket, who's injured. And although Pedro is going to be healed, he's going to be smacked with that Gift of Pain debuff for slower gen speed. And, I mean, Wispy here, I like the decision to just slow down, get more value out of your perks. You still have Ruin. You don't have to commit to this life or death chase with Pedro. You can get your pain res stacks, get those fresh hooks, and try to convert on all of these survivors who are injured. And he's going to find Rocket in a bad situation here, injured on this tile, able to get the shock. And Wispy, now he's converting on all of those resources that Pedro removed from the trial, getting those fresh hooks, getting those pain res stacks up, as he's going to be able to hook Rocket on the hill here.
Now, it should be worth mentioning that Rocket was working a generator that had significant progress on it. We are going to probably be detonating that one with Pain Resonance, with now 1 stack remaining on Spitz, if I'm not mistaken. And we will be looking for our next chase here. We are going to find Pedro once again, and with a lot less resources now, Wispy's probably going to be a lot more keen to take this chase onto Pedro here.
Pedro on the same filler that he was at before, back around the side of it. He's gonna hold W now to the double pallet. Able to dodge that shock, but he's still gonna take an M1. Haste coming in from Rapid Brutality there. As Pedro now over towards this same tile where the highest progressed gen is. Gets shocked, back around to the window now, needs to make a call. What's Wispy gonna do here? He's actually gonna fly away from the window. Is there a body block here? Maybe a head-on. Or is Pedro just gonna get walked down by Wispy for that first kill that he's been needing? As Pedro doesn't make this pallet here. There's no way. It's gotta be a pallet save from Invictus. There have been so many of those today. Wispy picking up on the pallet. Doesn't look like there's anybody here. And that's gonna be the kill onto Pedro.
Wow, that's 5 stages, 3 fresh so far in the pocket of Wispy here. We're getting pretty close to that win condition as well, and with 2 gens still remaining, it's looking very dangerous for Invictus right now. They are fully allowed to cleanse the Ruin Totem now that Pedro is dead, but I mean, the damage has already been done, honestly, Prion. There's been a lot of damage here to the generators, keeping them from popping, especially with all the pressure the Wispy was able to pull up onto the survivors of Invictus here, with, the constant need to reset and provide body blocks for Pedro. Just like so much just really going on for Wispy here. It just led to, oh, wait a second. The cheeky head-on attempt coming through, just not going to be able to be pulled off. Wispy, I don't know if he predicted it or if he knew, but he definitely avoided it, that's for sure. And we're going to find our chase onto Rocket now, and this might not last too much longer if we're not careful.
Rocket now in chase at this filler. They go for the vault and the vault back, but Wispy able to confirm the down. That's going to be a second hook onto Rocket. Spitz is working a gen in the distance. It should be completed here. It's not going to be the pain res that was already used on Rocket. Wispy now back towards the other side of the map. Spitz completes his gen. Dan needs to be on the stealth here to get the save onto Rocket. Static blast coming out. Going to land onto absolutely nobody, as Spitz might be the survivor going for the unhook, but Invictus, before they do anything, they need to finish this last gen before they can even think about getting survivors off the score.
Yeah, I mean, we're finding our next chase onto Dan now, and looks like Spitz is the one who got the save. We are going to take a tag here, though. Very, very nice mind game by Wispy there. Able to kind of, double back and get the tag right as Dan vaults the pallet. And if we shut this chase down, this should be the tie here rather soon. So Wispy actually wants to go for the win, though, of course. So we're going to try to find out where Rocket is. We do find the Spitz, which will be the final fresh, which is also actually a great person to chase right now. If we're able to get this fresh hook, that will be the win. What a read from Wispy! Wow, very good read from Wispy, predicting the head-on from Rocket coming through, trying to protect Spitz. That was so well played.
Yeah, insane read from Wispy there. I mean, These head-on reads are some of the biggest game sense plays that come out of our competitive killers, as Wispy realizes that there's no reason to be pathing around that tile that only has a locker and no pallet or window. Spitz now in chase. If Spitz goes down here, that is the win for Ascent. As trying to go for a pallet here, but Spitz going to go down. That is going to be 7 stages for fresh for Wispy if Spitz is hooked here. No flashlight, no flashbang, nothing coming in here for Invictus. And that's going to be Wispy securing the win here on the Doctor set for Ascent. I said it was going to be a big hurdle for Ascent. I said that this match was favoring Invictus, but Wispy and the survivors of Ascent coming through here and playing underdog in this Doctor set.
You know, one thing I gotta say though is just how much the Invictus survivors were really fighting as hard as they could to protect this win condition. This has been such an insane match so far. Probably one of the best matches I've seen in recent memory. Very, very, very contentious Doctor match here between both survivors. We are going to find Spitz coming in. Still has the endurance on him, so we'll probably be trying to just take the attention from Wispy and just take chase where he can. Nice dodge of the shock as well, by the way. And we should be able to make it back to the pallet. We don't actually. We do get the down onto Spitz, and now only Rocket remains at the moment.
Yep, Wispy just needs to find Rocket here to close out this game. As that injured survivor might be going for the unhook, might not. Static Blast coming in now. Not going to find the Rocket, so he's either in a locker or far enough away that it doesn't matter. And Rocket futilely doing the last generator here as Wispy getting closer and closer to finishing this game. But it looks like he's more worried about Rocket going for that unhook. So goes back to the hook, confirms the kill onto Dan, possibly picking up Spitz. Yeah, he's going to go for the pickup onto Spitz there. So Wispy playing it safe, even though the win con has been met. And Ascent got to be feeling good right now, tying this series up 2-2.
I would definitely have to imagine so, Prion. Yeah, it looks like, you know, Invictus just wants to play for the best result possible. Try to play for the 5 gens completed, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. Looks like Wispy will find out where Rocket is going to go and get the chase started against him, and that final gen is not going to pop. Ruin is still in play, by the way, and that gen's just going to be regressing the entire time. But Rocket is going to have his final chase, which is always a nice thing to have there. So we do love to see a final chase between these two teams here. And very well played so far. I have to say, this has been an incredible, tense matchup, Prion.
So we see the Mori come in from Wispy here. A little bit of a victory dance for Ascent as they win Invictus's pick. Let's throw it over to the analysts to talk about this match that is getting closer and closer with every game. With Wispy on the Fallen Refuge, a map that I personally have never even seen in comp. So this is going to be a truly interesting time. Ascent's pick, the Cenobite, not something that we've seen often this winter circuit. We've already got Wispy searching for that Lament configuration, also known as the box here. He's trying to guess where it spawned in relation to where the survivors spawned. And if he's able to find it, a chain hunt will instantly start and kind of harass the survivors off of their objectives here. Not really able to find. There he is. There is the box. Wispy has found it. It's going to be a chain hunt triggering to start this match.
Absolutely. A very, very good find for Wispy there. Should be getting some good pressure up into the start of this match. Getting the chain onto Rocket as well, and some interesting add-ons to boot. We are going to be losing Undying here pretty early in the match, but Ruin still remains, and it's still topside next to the main building, as we saw recently. This should be the first tag coming through. Dan does get on the box here, but the beginning pressure of the match here has been pretty solid for Wispy so far. We should be getting it down here rather shortly, unless actually looks like we're going to be committing to a body block here, and possibly getting a few injuries up on board as well, which is not bad for Wispy.
And look at the play there from Spitz. He's running behind Rocket, and not only is he taking a hit, he's also breaking all of the chains that are attached to Rocket. Wispy hits that nice chain shot onto Rocket, and it's just useless because he's got his teammate in Spitz running behind him, running through the chains to break them, and Wispy now going to be playing this double pallet What a call out there. What an aim. What aim from Wispy as he's able to get Spitz on this double window. It's going to be the first down from him. We can't overstate how difficult it is to land these Cenobite chains on these competitive survivors. This is like a nurse blink that you have to shoot another projectile out of and aim it with your mouse or controller. So Wispy with lights out aim so far on the Cenobite, able to get that first hook before the first gen is completed. Now searching for more pressure.
Not only that, but also before too much gen progress is even on the board, actually. With Ruin now gone, Pain Resonance is the only real gen regression that Wispy has in the pocket right now. And quite frankly, it's not a bad one to have. Both the totems were found out pretty quickly by the Invictus survivors. One of the downfalls of Hex totems, unfortunately, is that they can be found and gotten rid of pretty quickly. You know, kind of just gone from the match without too much of a trace. We are actually going to land a very long distance chain hit onto Nightlight from all the way at the hook. That was like a bot mid gen, I think, that we were able to land a chain on. So yeah, you mentioned earlier, by the way, Prion, that this is a very uncommon map in comp, and quite frankly, I'm happy that we're getting some playtime on it. This is definitely an interesting map to see, especially on a set like Cenobite.
An interesting map, you say, as we can clearly see that absolutely diabolical 3-gen right next to Spitz's hook. As Spitz going to be going second stage here, Wispy again securing a second stage early in the match, while Invictus attempts to do generators, but they haven't even popped one yet. Spitz unhooked in the distance. Wispy not even going to stop to kick this gen as he's already got Spitz in his sights. This is potentially really bad for Invictus as Wispy. We don't have that original pain add-on anymore. It no longer strips endurance off of survivors as Wispy goes for a swing and a miss there. Spitz playing this double pallet with his life on the line. Wispy misses the chain. Spitz going for the first pallet drop. He needs a hit, loses the mind game. Rocket not there fast enough, and that's going to be Wispy probably securing this first kill at 3 gens remaining. Rob, what a start here for Ascent.
Absolutely, very, very good start here for Ascent, but I do have to say, this is a rather small map, so I'm honestly expecting a pretty solid result here for the killer side, no matter which team is honestly playing killer. So I don't think this should be a fairly killer side result here, because this map is just so small. So I do like this map pick for Cenobite, but the expectation is that there are going to be a lot of stages here on this set, just considering how small the map is. We are going to send out another chain. It's going to miss, unfortunately, for Wispy, but the pressure is just on right now for the survivors of Invictus. With a 3v1 started at 3 gens remaining, there are some gens around, though, that do have pretty good progress, though, Prion.
Yeah, and let's not forget, as Wispy misses a chain there onto Nightlight, playing this double pallet now, let's not forget that although, yes, the 3v1 is really good for the killer, it's even better for the Cenobite because of the way that the box works. Having one survivor have to do the box with only 3 alive is even more slowdown here for Wispy. It's Nightlight not going to survive that chain, the impaling wire, adding more and more chains to the binding as Nightlight breaks one on the environment there. That is what that purple add-on does. Now Rocket forced to go for the box. He's not solving it because he doesn't want to give that information over to Wispy. He's actually in the terror radius here, and this could be really bad for Invictus if he's found. He's so close here to the killer, but he can't start solving this box in Wispy's terror radius because Wispy will interrupt him with a chain. That's that other add-on he has, Larry's Remains, going to be allowing him to interrupt that box with a chain with that increased solve time. But Wispy opting to just go back to the 3-gen. And that was the great call, as that first gen is almost done in the main building. Now for the teleport.
Honestly, from the survivor point of view here, I think it was incredibly smart for Rocket to go for that unhook with the box. Just playing it very slow. Of course, I mean, would you ever expect the survivor holding the box would go for the save? Probably not, right? Like I don't think I would. That was some very interesting strategy there from the survivors of Invictus. We are going to land a chain here onto Dan, and this should be a tag here rather shortly. Actually, I think that was a pretty good use of the of our chains there. That's going to be a tag there. Very well played by Wispy. Just knowing that the chains are going to prevent Dan from getting a fast vault back to the other side of the pallet. And right now, Dan just trying to stay alive as long as possible, preventing Wispy from building up too much more pressure because he's already built up quite a bit. What a fast vault from Dan. That was disgusting.
Incredible fast vault from Dan. He's going to go down in the end, but what I'm worried about here for Wispy is that he did not kick that main building gen. It's not going to matter because we can see Rocket and Nightlight have 99 their heals over by the shack. But if they wanted to play that a little bit more aggressively, they could have broken the 3-gen right then and there. So Dan going to go up on the hook. It's going to be a pain resonance onto the most important gen on the map. Although the survivors are healthy, he's able to get another hook directly in the 3-gen. And the 4th gen is not even on the other side of the map, Rob. It's actually just a little bit extended away on the same side with the main building. Wispy, this is the swing there onto the unhooker. It's not going to matter, though. Nightlight was out of there regardless. So now the tunnel out onto one of these survivors is going to commence. Neither of them dead on hook. Nightlight seems to be the more attractive target here as Wispy goes for a chain, hits it on Nightlight right over the pallet there. Just exquisite aim from Wispy. And he's going to go for the slug here on to Nightlight. Knows that someone has to deal with the box. That's going to be Dan off in the distance. And Invictus better hope that Dan is nowhere near the gens to do that box.
Absolutely. We are going to find our next chase onto Rocket, who is a fresh stage, by the way. Just barely dodging out the chain, by the way. So really, really well played by Rocket. We are going to get the tag as well. And it looks like Wispy feels very happy to commit this. Does know that the box is being solved by Dan. I'm imagining, what? That is crazy that we get away with that stun without going down for it. That was extremely close. But yeah, Wispy kind of was, able to kind of relax a little bit here. It feels like with so much. Oh, wait a second. Oh, what? What was that? That was genuinely insane from Rocket.
Rocket somehow surviving there, going to eventually go down in the corner, and what this has allowed Invictus to do is pick up Nightlight, get him fully healed, and now Dan is also getting fully healed. This is going to be the 4th fresh hook though, and and Rocket is going to be hooked in the 3-gen once again on that pain resonance at the main building.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is just a fantastic spot to hook, especially a fresh hook here. Because our 3-gen is just like right here, and then it's kind of a 4-gen too, because the gen that's the furthest away is still topside. It's just a little bit in the top right corner. We are going to miss that that chain onto Nightlight, but the amount of stages that have been accrued so far are just very impressive right now, considering how strong this map is for the killer side, and how Wispy's been playing this. I mean, this is just so much pressure right now for these survivors of Invictus.
Yeah, I mean, he's just getting more and more injuries here, and Wispy, he's getting greedy and trying to hold on to this 4-gen rather than the established 3-gen. As like I said before, that one in the corner is not even really that far away. I think that was a repressed alliance blocking that gen up from Invictus. At this point, they've got to just be playing to get down to 4K1, but it's so hard to do with this setup.
Very, very hard to do. And we are going to find Dan here. I wonder if Wispy heard the box, actually. I don't think he did. If he did, he's just going to leave it alone. But he is going to commit to the chase onto Dan here. Landing a chain. Dan does make it to this tile, but it is a window gem. So, not only going to be the strongest tile to work with, we are going to land the chains onto Dan as well, who cannot get the fastball. That will lead to the down coming in. And now one pallet being broke at this double pallet filler here, which means that basically it's not going to be nearly as strong as it was when it first started. We are going to send our, we are going to go back top side here. We do have a very strong 4-gen, so right now it looks like Wispy wants to do everything he can to protect this. Rocket will get interrupted on the box as well, which is going to be a bit of trouble for the survivors of Invictus if Wispy gets it down.
Rocket in chase now with the box. It's Wispy looking to get that chain hunt started. He's found in the terror radius with that chain. Rocket on the window now. He's going to be trying to survive here with the box, but as soon as Wispy gets this hit, that is going to be the chain hunt started. Dan dead on hook, Nightlight the only healthy survivor, as this is just dwindling away from Invictus here.
Absolutely, yeah. This is looking pretty scary right now for Invictus. Almost guaranteed 4K2, and yeah, with Dan getting stuck as well, and also chained, all of it coming together to lead to Dan being dead on hook now and being eliminated from the match here. This is just looking very tough right now for Invictus.
Yep. It looks like Dan going to be killed here as only Rocket and Nightlight left standing. Wispy just tightening his grip over this game.
Grip is pretty formidable right now. We are going to land another chain onto Rocket, who I don't know how long he has at this filler here, but he is going to go down, and now Nightlight is the only survivor up right now. Wispy actually wants to hook this instead of just going straight for the down onto Nightlight. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting map choice here. This is looking like a 4K2. Not really too much here that can be done for the Invictus survivors. They might be able to pull off a cheeky unhook really quick, but aside from that, it looks like this is pretty much game over, which is, I mean, 4K2 on Cenobite. Very impressive, and quite a strong result here for Ascent. And now that we're kind of getting close to closing out this match, I am very curious to how Ascent will play this on the survivor side, knowing that a 4K2 is the tie condition. We are going to find Nightlight here, actually, getting the tag. Now both survivors are injured. Rocket starting a new gen from scratch, and now that means that basically this is looking really tough right now, honestly. Wispy is going to leave this chase. He is going to go try to find out where Rocket is, just get information on both the survivors, and just find it easier to manage to, you know, shut the game down as quickly as possible. 4K2 being what I would imagine is going to be the result here, considering the pressure we have, the fact that both survivors remaining are injured, and of course he knows where both of them are at the moment. 4K2 looking pretty tough. We do land that chain as well, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, this is pretty much game over. 4K2, very impressive result for Wispy. Yeah, I mean, like, man, this map is quite killer-sided, honestly. Yeah, this was definitely a very, very contentious result here for both sides. But man, landing the 4K2 for Wispy, just very impressive. But we're gonna switch the sides over and see if this is just a result of the map being killer-sided, or if this was just something that Wispy did that was just really, really heavily pressuring the survivors. But in the meantime, we're going to send it back over to the analysts and talk about what happened in this match.
I can tell you what happened in this match. It appears that we are sending... I get that he lost a game of... or at least not lost yet, but I know that like he's not had a good trial. I think that's a little bit harsh to straight up send him to, you know, the realm of eternal torture, but, you know.
This Cenobite set, and a little bit of housekeeping, our producer's game crashed right at the beginning of that last trial, so no fault to either team. It's going to be a restart where, yeah, no fault between either team, so builds can be changed, and we are now into this match where Pedro has a very difficult win condition to meet. It's Ascent already on top of those totems.
That is rather rough for Pedro. That is 2 perks with some pretty good value that are immediately gone in the match. Pedro is also going to get the box, find that very early on in the match as well, which is, you know, both Cenobite players have done that now at the start of both trials. Just kind of marks a very good Cenobite player, right? They can identify where the box should spawn based on where the survivors should spawn and where the killer spawn. So we are actually going to find our chase onto Wispy now, and should be, I think, the tag coming in here rather soon, unless, of course, that happens. Two M1s, both of them missing. That is a decently longer chase now, thanks to that, for Wispy.
Yeah, the first auto aim there coming in onto Wispy, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Second one in a row, that's a little bit crazier, as Wispy makes it all the way out of that 3-gen area by the main building. and now towards the front of this tile as well. Going to be dropping that pallet up, uses the check spot there to dodge out on Pedro. And now Pedro forced to play this as an M1 killer as Wispy wins that mind game once again. Now holding W away from the tile, Pedro with the break, and Wispy just on fire on Survivor tonight. Look at that chase, Rob. He's got so much distance now with gen progress ticking up for Ascent.
Yeah, the gen progress from Ascent is just like by far so incredible right now. It is just picking up so much. We have 2 different gens popping Prion. That is very impressive right now for Ascent. They are already 1 gen above the tie condition, which is very impressive. This is just incredible from Ascent at the moment.
Pedro just dropped with boil over. Wispy using the horsey perk and it gets him out. You cannot be serious. Wispy just escaped with boil over in a DBDLeague match.
That is incredible. Wow. Yeah, Pedro has to leave that. There is no way he can continue chasing that. So much time bought right now in the beginning of this match here with another chase being taken on to Angels at the moment. Like, this is just fantastic right now for Ascent. Whether it's, I don't know if I want to say it's entirely just, you know, like very good, very clean Survivor play, but like, man, the cards are really in Ascent's favor in this match. I mean, this is obviously very good Survivor play, but man, the boil over getting value was just unforeseen, honestly. That was just really silly, I want to say, but also very impressive to make it such an interestingly not strong perk get so much value.
It's such a silly perk. It's like you said, it's not strong, but it's so annoying to deal with. It's one of those perks that when you see it on your screen when you're playing killer, you're just like, why? Why would you do that to me? And Wispy is using it to perfection to deny the basement unhooked there. Angel's going to be downed here on a filler pallet, but Ascent could not care any less here. They are already 1 gen away, about 25% progress away from meeting the tie condition here in this set. It's going to be the first hook finally for Pedro. Pain Resonance in the middle of the map, but just like Wispy, he's already a 2-perk killer here with just the Pain Resonance and the Sloppy Butcher. Jaw getting hit with a long-range chain there, but his pathing has been on point so far as well. It's not going to be easy for Pedro to get as he misses the swing on the window. Jaw making distance, and the difference between that last match and this one is that there is no tight 3-gen by the main building. Ascent have already broken that as Pedro misses another chain onto Jaw, allowing him to get over back towards the TL. And the gen progress continues to tick up. What a hit on the window onto Zaphis. Pedro, almost like a swing out of anger there as Ascent meets the tie condition in the background. Zaphis going to be going into the clip compilation there, but ultimately Ascent still in a really good spot.
Yeah, this is a fantastic spot right now for Ascent. They are absolutely chilling right now, I would have to say. And Zaphis predicting that that Pedro would respect the pallet there. Pedro just like says nope and just swings straight through it. I love that. Oh man, yeah. I mean, honestly, if Pedro has so very much that he needs to have happen in a very short amount of time, Prion, I don't think that the win is doable at this point. Even for someone as skilled at killer as Pedro is, it's just not going to be doable. This is just, I mean, remarkable from Ascent here that they're taking the win on this. They played very well on both sides, and obviously also, you know, getting some really good value out of their perks as well. Jaw seeming to finish a gen off in the background, so that would mark the win here shortly if we see that completed, which it will in just now. That's going to be the win for Ascent, marking, I believe we're up to 2-3 right now in favor of Ascent.
Match point for Ascent in this losers bracket series. Remember, everybody, only one of these teams is walking away, and Ascent, the North America's last hope, they are now threatening to eliminate Invictus from the winter circuit on the Cenobite set, and they're going to do it in style as well. Only 3 hooks here for Pedro. Jaw 60% completed on the final gen. They're looking to get outs.
I think that's entirely doable, especially since we're at 1 gen remaining and only 3 stages on the board right now for Pedro. I mean, this is just looking very, very doable for Ascent to get outs here right now. But I mean, given how small this map is, this could still be a 4K for Pedro, which would still be very impressive. But this map is very small, and it's very easy to kind of work a lot of pressure into the map here. But it looks like our survivors of Ascent are going to be finishing up the main building generator, marking the 5th and final generator being completed, and possibly out's going to be achieved here rather shortly.
Trade coming in there from Angels, going to be down on the hook here. Pedro just taking what stages he can get, as almost certainly Ascent is going to be on that opposite side door, and match point achieved here for the North Americans. They have really shown up here in this losers bracket, and this is do or die for Invictus. Is this really where we would have expected Invictus to go out in this tournament? I don't think so. I think the analysts are going to have a lot to say about this match, Rob. So let's go and throw it back over to Will and Egdar as we talk about what's going to happen in this last match, potentially the last match that we see Invictus in.
I know Dyer is as well. He talks about it every single time he's on the desk for the Plague match. But right now it's myself and Prion, and quite frankly, I'm a big Plague enjoyer too, especially on the family residence map. It's been an interesting time here so far. And taking a look at Pedro's build, this is a pretty tried and true classic Plague build here with Thanatophobia, Pain Res, Eruption, and Corrupt Intervention here. Pretty standard build. We're going to go ahead and get moving around the map here, infecting all the generators in case any of the survivors of Ascent touch them. This is, quite frankly, a very interesting set here to potentially be match point at, and potentially see the 4-2 from Ascent. But either way you spin it, Invictus is not out yet, and they still have an opportunity here to take a set win. So right now, it could be very likely that we see a bit of an upset right now when it comes to Ascent and Invictus. But that's definitely gonna be up to the players and how they play this, though. And I am curious to see how this goes down, Prion.
Yeah, this isn't just any family residence map, Rob. This is Family Residence 2. So the 3-gen by the main building corner is going to be super important here.
Very true, very true. One of the things that really feeds into Plague's kit is definitely going to be the 3-gen, right? And Pedro is definitely going to protect one for sure when it comes to this. We are going to be infecting more generators along the way, as the infection has worn out on some of them. And now that we're getting around the map here, it looks like we are finding that survivors have been on some of these gens, but we can't find out who and where they're at just yet. So right now, Ascent is playing this extremely slow, which is what you have to do in Plague sets.
Yep, I cannot blame Ascent at all for playing like this. It is the correct thing to do in the Plague set. Takes a lot of mental energy to play it like this, but with Ascent on match point here, I would be doing the same thing. It's nobody infected yet. Until I say that, Angels gets found stealthing edge map, infected up there by the Plague. Only a little bit of that vile purge is going to hit those Angels. Going to have a decent amount of time before he gets fully infected here. This first chase is going to be super important. Angels back over the pallet here, not going to win that mind game. Gets hit. Is going to have to run down towards this filler pallet as well. Trying to play this here against Pedro. Angels tries to make it back towards the other filler. It's significantly stronger, this one on the tree. He is going to make that vault. Nice patience there from Angels, playing this pallet on that ping. Pedro, though, wins that mind game, and it looks like nobody going to be coming in for a body block. Ja was almost there, though.
Wait a second. Oh, but we're not set up in the right position for it, unfortunately. Too much clutter in the way for Ja to make his way right into Plague's face there. So Pedro will be taking that hook. A nice chase from Angels, though, so far. We did buy a bit of time for our team here. As you can see, the Wispy has about 30% on a gen. Ja is just now starting one. And the lucky thing for Ascent is there's only one stack of Thanatophobia on the board at the moment, which could be worse. That's not too much slowdown. As far as I know, that's only like 2.5%. It's not a whole lot. It is not really going to see that big of an impact in the gen slowdown. But we are going to be interrupting some gen progress here, and not really going to be able to find anybody who's in the area, though. Ja will be able to get the unhook. Is going to take an infection for that, but won't be fully infected just yet. And Pedro will be going for the tunnel out onto Angels.
And the name of the game for Angels here is, can you make it to the shack side of the map? Still has a little bit of endurance left here. Pedro counting down those seconds very accurately as he doesn't go for the swing there. Ja lined up to take a body block as Pedro actually just walking right around him to the point where Ja is like, okay, I'm out. Angels, you can play these tiles. Angels gets the pallet stun there. What a check spot out from Angels. Almost looked like he couldn't see Pedro there, but he does get the stun. Now, Ja back for the body block once again. Zaphis doing a gen in the background. Ja gets 2-tapped though as his infection was getting pretty close to full. Pedro hits him with a vile purge there and is able to get a second fresh hook. Now, preventing the tunnel out is really nice for Ascent. Not having someone on death hook is so important. As Zaphis actually lets go of his gen on purpose there and lets it get hit by Pain Res. That makes me think that maybe Zaphis's gen is not part of the 3 gen here.
It's very possible that you're 100% correct about that. We are going to drop the shack pallet, and it looks like Pedro's not going to opt to take the corrupt purge in the shack. It was pretty free for Pedro to take there, but not going to take it. So at the moment, we are going to be just M1 on Plague, and still trying to get the second stage onto Angels, who is taking a pretty nice chase so far.
Angels has a pretty strong tile connected to this shack with a pallet and a window. Oh, but Pedro, nice mind game there, uses the trees to obscure his position, and Angels going to go down to that there on the pallet. He has shack. This could be basement here onto Angels, and now the question is, how much gen progress does Ascent get for this basement hook? As Angels gonna go up on the hook. Wispy and Ja doubling a gen off in the distance, way far away from that shack, and that's gonna be the corrupt purge taken by Pedro. Danger for Ascent now with that corrupt purge active. The player to watch now is gonna be Zaphis, that healthy survivor. If Ascent doesn't want to cleanse here and instead wants to stealth, that one healthy survivor is going to make all the difference here for Ascent, whether he can be found or stealth.
Very true. Pedro's going to try to play for a very nice little purge play there around the rock filler. It's not going to land, but it will catch Ja out of position there for an M1. So that is still going to lead to some pressure being generated here by Pedro. But right now, Angels still dead on hook in the basement. They just now get the reset, the save, I mean. And if they're able to get out of basement before Pedro can really make his way too far back there, this could be really good for Ascent. We are at 2 gens remaining. A very nice attempt from Pedro, but it's not going to land. We actually dodge it. Wispy doing a pretty good job to stay alive against pretty lethal turret power here. And this might be the down here shortly. Yeah, it is going to be the down there. A nice attempt, though, from Wispy for sure.
Yep, Ja on the hook here. Going to be most likely Zaphis going in for that save as Wispy, the fresh hook, comes in. No pain res here for Pedro. Silver lining for Ascent as they are split on 2 different gens, but all survivors about to be injured here. They're going to be hitting the full debuff of Thanatophobia as soon as Zaphis gets fully infected, as Pedro knows that this is the time to take that second corrupt purge. And this is where I wonder if we're going to see these survivors start to cleanse. Zaphis immediately left in chase. Pedro knows that the other side of the map holds the survivors that are death hook, so going to be going down towards that shack side. This is away from the 3 gen, so I wonder if this is the gen Angels is on. Pedro probably not wanting to be playing the shack here, as yeah, he spots Angels near the highly progressed gen, and Angels does have the shack pallet with distance. So what can Angels come up with here? A good chase here could secure that match point for Ascent and get them into the next round of the losers bracket, eliminating Invictus, as Angels needs to win these mind games on the filler. Able to dodge the corrupt purge for a second, but Pedro held it down long enough there. Angel's gonna go down all the way in the corner of the map. He's right next to a gen with so much progress though, Rob.
Yeah, that's like the only real problem here for Ascent right now, is the fact that this was so close to a very highly progressed gen. But this still does give Ascent the opportunity to pop one of the 3 gen. So that's going to be actually pretty huge for Ascent right now. And now given that this final gen is so far away, has a lot of progress on it, and I don't believe that Pedro kicked it, this could be a very a very soon endgame. Right now, we see Wispy starts another generator off in the distance, and Jaw looks like he's in position to get on that final gen with a lot of progress already. So right now, in a pretty good spot to potentially limit the amount of stages we already have.
No 3-gen available for Pedro, even though he has that eruption. So the death onto Angels is going to put a little bit more pressure on Ascent here, but this gen spread is so good for them. Now, they have used 2 corrupt purges so far, so looks like Ascent opting to never cleanse again. As Zaphis holding on to this Lithe here, he's going to be able, he's actually going to vault back with it and lose a little bit of the speed, but ends up using it anyways to get back around the side there. Pedro generating Bloodlust most likely on this killer. He swings through it. Zaphis not fast enough on the pallet drop, and that's going to be the 4th fresh hook here for Pedro. Hopefully, for the fans of Ascent, Zaphis is not near a pain resonance. Looks like he was directly under one, as now that's going to send Jaw into the middle of the map to try to get this save on the fresh hook. This is crucial here. Jaw can't get found, or if he does get found, he needs to be as far away from Wispy as humanly possible. As Wispy sticking the gen here. Jaw scratch marks. He's trying to get found basically here as Wispy sticking the gen. He's going to be able to complete it for sure, Rob. No corrupt purge in play, and that's going to be the final gen done here for Ascent. Wispy in chase at this edge map tile. Did he ever break this pallet? He didn't. When he downed Angels, he left that pallet standing. That is crucial for Ascent as Wispy makes distance toward the backside of the shack. He shouldn't have much here. The shack pallet was thrown a while ago. Only one window. Wispy, go locker, please. He's not able to save those next few seconds. But Wispy buys enough time for his team to complete the final gen, and this might be significant number of stages out the door for Ascent.
This is definitely looking to be a pretty solid result for Ascent. Already popping 5 gens against a very solid team like Invictus is already very impressive. But right now, we are looking to get outs as well with potential for, I mean, it's looking like Jaw and Zaphis are getting out, right? Which is going to be 3 stages out of the door, marking 9 stages for Fresh, which is not a bad result at all. It's definitely doable, but we'll have to see what Ascent's going to do on the killer side now that we're switching sides here. But before we even get to that, let's pass it back to the analysts and see what they have to say about this match.
A lot. This is where things get into pretty dire territory, right?
So back again on the plague with this no-fault restart. And although he was in a really strong position there, but he didn't really have a great start. His fortunes kind of changed later in the game, so Wispy here, there is a lot he can do to get an even faster start against Invictus here, as he's going into the corrupt area, looking for survivors, stealthing, trying to find a strong first chase. That first chase that he had in the last game was not exactly ideal in shack with Spitz healthy, as he's going to find scratch marks at the main building, and this has got to be a survivor that's confident in their chase. Scratch marks leading out the back of the main building. Wispy going to opt to break the door for later, as no sign of the survivor there, as he's going to double back. And so much distance here. This is going to be Dan in first chase in the back corner of the map. Actually gets hit there with the Vile Purge. That was over the top of the tile once again from Wispy. Able to call out that Dan would greed that pallet, and that's going to be an M1 onto Dan. Wispy already starting this first chase very quickly.
Yeah, very interesting puke over the tile that landed on Dan, and finding our chase. Excuse me. Yeah, finding our chase moving across the map as well. Dan's, taking a pretty nice chase, getting a lot of distance on Wispy.
Dan in chase at this long wall jungle gym does not make the pallet though, and that's going to be a faster first down than Wispy had last game onto Spitz, as Dan going to be slugged on the ground here, as Wispy had some idea that gen was about to be done, wanting to see if he could get a quick infection there. This pain resonance will hit Spitz's gen, so good value out of that perk for Wispy. And it looks like he does not have a very strong 3-gen by the main building here. If he wants to go for that playstyle, he's probably going to have to do it over by the shack instead, as these gens are spread pretty far apart for Invictus. As back towards the hook goes the Vile Purge, and Wispy fully going for a tunnel out here onto Dan, just following behind him, spraying him with that Vile Purge, even though he's already fully infected. Now trying to get the infection onto Kexo as well, spreading that sickness. Kexo gonna take an M1, and Wispy, what is he going for here? Is he committing for that tunnel out, or looks like he might be going for fresh hooks? He may be a little bit confused here on this filler. Now finds Dan though, again at this pagoda tile. Dan back towards the filler, makes it over towards this jungle gym as well. And this is where I think if you're Wispy, you've got to start thinking about taking that corrupt purge, as altruism is coming in from Spitz.
Absolutely. Very well said, Prion. We are going to get another injury up on the board here. Nightlight should be injured, fully injured here soon. And it looks like Wispy wants to change targets here and go after Spitz instead. And with getting the corrupt purge up now, we should be in a pretty scary position now. Just barely missing Spitz there. Very, very scary stuff. And that's going to be the down as well onto Spitz. So a second hook coming in. It's a second fresh hook as well. And with everyone injured on the board now, that is definitely going to be a little bit more pressure for Wispy. No Thanatophobia on board at the moment, so it won't be providing any value there. But it would be if Thanatophobia was in play. But not going to be the case. We are going to get the second hook from Spitz on the board as well. And now I can only imagine Wispy wants to find out, where did Dan go?
Finding Dan here would be absolutely huge. The same way that he found Kexo in that last game. As Wispy, he's on the trail of somebody here, but it's not Dan. This is going to be Nightlight on the Atom. Wispy still has a little bit of that corrupt purge left, trying to mind game this main building as Nightlight over towards these tiles by the basement. Going down here in basement would be really bad for Invictus. Nightlight trying to play this window, misses the swing there. What a fake out from Nightlight there as he's going to take the window. Wispy needs to break that door if he wants to make this window weaker. As Nightlight dodges another lunge there out of Wispy. Really nice chase so far, and he's going to make it over towards this pallet gym as well. Wispy now, what do you do here? Nightlight not choosing to greed. Another gen done in the distance. It looks like Nightlight down for this world as Wispy able to go around the pallet gym one more time, make that hit. This is going to be a third fresh hook for Wispy, which is good, but he needs to get closer to getting a kill here if he wants to get this win condition of 10 stages.
Yeah, definitely going to be pretty. I want to say things are looking a little bit better for Invictus in this replay here. But at the moment, we are still in a position where things can definitely still fall into Ascent's favor here. That we do have a survivor here trying to come in for the very fast pull. It's actually Dan, with multiple hooks already on the board. This hook suddenly seems a little bit less valuable, right? The unhook comes through right as Wispy gets stunned, by the way. And it looks like we're just going to opt to leave and go apply our Pop Goes the Weasel to this highly progressed gen over by the bottom left side of the map here, looks like. We are going to make our way back towards the main building where the unhook just came through recently and see who we can find. We do have a couple survivors in the area. Exo just now leaving recently, trying to get away as Wispy comes in and gets a corrupt purge up and running here. And if we can find someone out in a bad position, this could be a snowball coming in from Wispy.
That is his second corrupt purge out of 3. Wispy going for the shot over the tile. Vomit not going to land on Dan just yet. Dan going for the quick vault. He's going to lose that mind game there. Wispy with the corrupt purge gets the down onto Dan. This is going to be a second hook, but uh-oh. We are down to 1 gen here, and that is being doubled, I believe, over by that jungle gym that Wispy was just at. Do they make this through the full Thanatophobia debuff? They do not, but look at that repressed alliance from Nightlight, preventing the Pop Goes the Weasel and adding yet another timer that Wispy has to deal with. Can you even get there in time to kick that gen? You can, but it's not going to be Pop Goes the Weasel. Nice perk choice there from Nightlight, and Wispy gets the down onto Kexo with the corrupt purge as well. Thinks about slugging, but it's not going to be a good idea. That gen is still blocked. This pain resonance isn't going to do anything to it, Rob.
Very true, but one thing that's worth mentioning is that we just got our last fresh hook here, and that's going to be marked now. 5 stages, 4 fresh on the board, and only a few more until we're at the tie condition. So now with Spitz Gen being interrupted here by Wispy, we are going to be trying to get back on this when we can. It looks like we might actually be going back to get the tunnel out completed onto Dan as one gen still remains. The pop is going to come through and knock a lot of progress off of Dan's gen, but it looks like Wispy actually wants to go back and pressure the other gens, especially considering this one's being doubled.
Yeah, and Wispy, he has one more corrupt purge, but it's in such a bad spot. He can't get over there to use it without the last gen being done. This is so close here for Wispy. He needs to get more stages, but he can't get the corrupt purge. It's all the way over behind the main building, and the only survivors he can find here are using their exhaustion perks to go over towards the shack. Spitz on the Jake here drops this strong pallet, and Wispy forced to leave once again. He's got 6 stages here. But no, he only has 5 stages here, and he needs 10 to win.
Yeah, things are looking a lot more difficult for Wispy now. And at the moment, it looks like Invictus is in a position to win this set and take themselves further up towards the win here. We are actually tripling this generator, by the way, Prion. Just so we're clear, this is how close we are to completing this final generator. We triple it as Wispy's in chase with a Death Hook survivor, someone who's not worth very many stages here. But keep in mind, since we tripled it, no one was ready to get on the gate just yet. So this could be completely fine for Wispy. We'll have to see though, because after we hook, what is Wispy going to do? That is the real important question.
Nightlight, that infected survivor, is over by the gate. Wispy going to be putting some Vital Purge on the gate. We don't see a survivor on a door just yet. They're taking their time, going for a cleanse here. These doors are relatively okay for Wispy to defend. That's why we see the survivors all starting to cleanse. Invictus not out of this just yet. Wispy needs multiple downs here to secure the win and multiple kills. 1 hook stage on all of these survivors. He's got so many pools on the map to use now, but using them costs time. Time that the survivors could be using to do a door. He's going to take yet another one over by the jungle gym where the gen was completed. It's Kexo stealthing far away from the doors here. Nightlight kind of in danger at the main building. If one of these survivors gets found with the corrupt purge near a door, this could actually end up going in Ascent's favor. So this is so tense here for the survivors of Invictus. Nightlight found at the main building with the corrupt purge, goes for the fast vault and the vault back, dodges out on the vomit once again, and Spitz already on the door here. Wispy forced to leave after missing those 2 shots.
Yeah, looking very, very difficult for Wispy right now, especially considering the fact that we need to get 2 different survivors here. They're all healthy, and we haven't been able to land a single hit on anyone just yet. The Invictus survivors are playing this extremely, extremely carefully and making sure to not give any free tags. They are, just pre-sending their distance as far as they can, as early as they can, if Wispy even breathes in their direction, which is just, it is fantastic survivor play from Invictus here. They are likely going to find a chase here onto Spitz, but even if Spitz dies, this will not be the win for Ascent, so they need to be very careful about how they play this. And there's the 2 escapes. That's already marking this Invictus's win here, so we're now at match point for both teams at the moment.
I cannot believe this series has gone the full distance, as Ascent and Invictus are going to Game 7 here in the losers bracket. Who could have ever seen this coming? As the channel point predictions on the channel are telling a much different story about how people thought this game was going to go. Spitz going for the hatch here, and it is going to be the escape. And wow, what a series we have on our hands.
We are loading into the final set of the evening with the shape, and not only is it a shape set, but it's on Wrecker's Yard. Such an interesting map selection here for the shape, but I'm all for it, honestly. I can't wait to see how both the teams handle this. We are going to find our first stock onto someone here over at the left side of the map here as they're moving down to the crane, it looks like, and we have someone else here as well. Rocket looks like moving into the map just to try to get onto a generator as soon as possible, and we're actually able to stalk through the crane and get some nice stock progress onto Evil Within.
Now, Dan here, the target of the first chase on the crane. Wispy going for what stock he can get through the cracks of the crane here, and that is going to be the evil incarnate charged there for Wispy. Now back towards the middle of the map, corrupt intervention about halfway done, and Wispy undetectable here with that evil within charged. He's going to be able to go into that evil incarnate mode with the press of a button here. Survivors need to be careful from that global sound cue. And Wispy, it looks like he's going to opt to play it slow. He's going to be putting eruptions down on these gens, taking advantage of that corrupt intervention, trying to spread as much regression as possible once he does pop that power. And here we go, evil incarnate here in DBDLeague as Pedro in chase at this jungle gym. Knife pulled up for Wispy, just gonna choose to smash through that pallet. Pedro now back towards the shack. You got to imagine that these survivors are going to be going straight to shack pallet and dropping it. Even though that gen did have some progress, Pedro on the window is able to win that mind game for now. Wispy back around the side. Pedro not opting to take the window. This is going to be shack pallet given over to Wispy as Pedro makes it back towards the other side. He's going to have some fillers here with the cars. This chase for Pedro is so important for Invictus. He's greeting, and Wispy falls for it there as Pedro makes even more distance, and Wispy forced to just kick pallets.
Yeah, this is looking very interesting, honestly, for both teams here. We are going to be losing a lot of pallets in the meanwhile, but this is also lasting long enough to see several gens get a lot of progress on board here. Now, if we're not careful, this is probably going to be a down. Looks like we're actually going to force it with the locker.
Amazing first chase there out from Pedro, wasting so much of Wispy's time. And it looks like what he's going to be choosing to do here is go for this basement hook, but it's not going to be enough. They're doubling the shack gen, Rob, and that basement hook is now pretty useless here for Wispy. He needs to get more. There's no gen progress really on the map except for Dan's 10% gen. So the pop goes the weasel, not really going to find a target as Wispy now shifts back into stealth mode. He needs to find some stock. If he's able to get stalled out here by Invictus, this is going to go from bad to worse for Ascent.
Absolutely, very well said. We are going to be stocking up Rocket just a little bit. It looks like we do get about half the stock we need to get really anywhere. And we're going to go straight back to the basement here where Dan is coming in for the save on the Pedro in the basement. Now, that being said, we are going to get our stock fully all the way up here, looks like. And now that we've... Oh, we're actually going to take a nice body block for Dan to get away from the basement there. Spitz is going to pop another generator, looks like. So we have 3 generators completed at this moment now. And we're trying to get our tunnel out onto Pedro here. And he's doing a pretty solid job right now of just check spotting, making sure that he's not falling for any mind games here. Really good 50 win there by Pedro. And going to be able to leave off of that actually as well. So making even more distance into the map here. Should we make crane pallet? We don't. We do die on it. No one's here for the pallet save though. So Pedro just picks. But if you look at the gen progress in the background, Rocket has a ton of progress on a gen. That is going to be pain resonance being used as well. So now we are going to be getting our first pain resonance stack off in the distance onto Rocket's gen.
Now Pedro having incredible chases here in this do or die game 7. As Wispy wasted so much time in those chases, Pedro winning so many mind games, greeting pallets to his benefit as Rocket now in chase at this broken truck. They are doing such a good job keeping distance from this Myers, making those evil incarnate downs take such a long time as Dan pretty highly progressed on a generator. We've got survivors on a hill here by the crane. That crane pallet is still up, and Wispy out of evil incarnate mode with only 2 generators to go and significant progress. This is such a bad situation for Ascent. Wispy, he needs to catch somebody unaware and get that stock up really fast, but just getting to evil incarnate is not enough. Wispy needs to have one of the most deadly evil incarnate activations we've ever seen as Pedro perfectly plays his distance around the crane pallet.
Very, very true. Looks like actually Wispy's going to leave off of that and go interrupt the gen that Spitz and Rocket are doubling right now. Having to leave Pedro is just pretty good pressure right now onto Wispy from the Invictus survivors right now. They are working generators with getting a lot of progress on board, when we do actually interrupt both Spitz and Rocket as well, getting our stock up as much as possible, and we might be able to actually get a fresh hook if we're able to commit for a little bit. Rocket is going to make it away before Wispy is able to get too much stock up at the moment. But wow, this is seeing Endgame very shortly from Dan popping the final generator.
And there's the end game here with only 2 stages for Wispy. He's got Evil Incarnate, but he needs to make something out of it here. Sees Rocket in his sights, not the survivor you want to be 1v1ing here. As Rocket, he's got 2 filler pallets and a window. Over towards the shack now, the Evil Incarnate is popped. That timer starting to tick down as Rocket dropping the first pallet he comes across. Dan already almost done with a door as Spitz coming into, or Pedro coming in to potentially take a body block for his teammate. You don't want to get the Death Hook survivor here if you're Wispy, and he's going to go around the hill to try to cut off that healthy survivor. Rocket sees it coming though, back towards the shack, playing with his teammate Pedro here, trying to give over the life of that Death Hook survivor. Wispy into the shack here, Rocket playing the backside, and I don't know how you get around this body block if you're Wispy.
I don't know either, but we're getting closer and closer, and that's the main thing, right? We are going to see. He actually does get past Pedro, but if Rocket's able to wrap the tile, then he'll be body blocked shortly in no time. We do have Bloodlust up, so right now it's looking a little bit scary if we're able to make something happen with this. But Pedro is really trying his hardest to take it down for Rocket right now.
Bloodlust 3 for Wispy, but Rob, that Evil Incarnate is starting to tick down. Wispy only has about 10 seconds to go for a slash here, charging the Slaughtering Strike, goes around and he misses! No way! The Evil Incarnate is gonna run out, Rob. He only has one more try here to hit Pedro, or to hit anybody, and he gets
it! And it lands!
It lands at the last possible second. Wispy lands the Evil Incarnate Slaughtering Strike onto Rocket, and he's going to be able to secure 3 more stages against all odds. But still, what a result for Invictus. What a statement in this Game 7, and Ascent truly has their backs against the wall now. It has to be doable, right? You can't approach this any other way if you are Ascent. You have to accept the result from Wispy and say, guys, we can do it. And what is this build from Pedro? Dark Arrogance Bamboozle.
That is an interesting combination of perks. I wonder what basket we're putting all of our eggs into here, but I kind of like it a lot, actually. We are going to be looking for our first target here, our first chase where we can, but the Ascent survivors need to come into this with the mindset that they can get 4 stages to fresh or better, because that's what's going to be necessary in order to win here and beat out Invictus here. Otherwise, they will be packing their bags and going home, leaving the Winter Circuit, and Invictus will be staying in. But either way you look at it, right? Right now, this is the final match. This is the opportunity to see who is going to be leaving the Winter Circuit and who will be staying in. We are going to find our first chase onto Wispy, who just played the shape for the Ascent against Invictus survivors. Now we are going to be finding a very, very crazy usage of the Slaughtering Strike there, going around the dumpster filler to get it down onto Wispy. It was a bit unexpected, the angle that Pedro was going to send it from, but it worked out very well. And we'll be taking this hook over at the car pile here, looks like. And that's going to be Pain Resonance coming in pretty early into the match there.
Not a good start for Ascent as Wispy caught on a TL against a killer with a vault build. As now, what are they going to do here? Pain Resonance has hit the shack. Pedro extending out across the map, looking to get any other injuries he can with that Slaughtering Strike. But the unhook comes in onto Wispy very quickly, putting confidence in his chase maybe. And that's going to be, actually, that's the speed add-on here from Wispy, or from Pedro, sorry. And Wispy caught on a rock, barely able to escape that Slaughtering Strike, as now he's at another TL here. Vault out from Pedro as Wispy now playing another truck pallet. He's going to hold W through it as Evil Incarnate runs out for Pedro. Wispy barely able to escape there, but he's going to switch his target instantly to Angels. Angels, what are you doing right next to the killer as he pops Evil Incarnate? And that is not where you want to be. These types of mistakes, they can't be happening in a Game 7.
That is very, very true, Prion. And right now, It's looking like it's going to be very hectic right now for Ascent. Getting our second stage at 5 gens. It's not on our tunnel out, but it's rather on a fresh stage. And we are going to be finding Wispy once again. So as we progress into this match, it's looking pretty scary right now for Ascent. This is looking very doable by Invictus. And that was just such an insane mind game from Pedro.
And realistically, what do you do in that situation as Wispy? The slaughtering strike is moving so fast, and he has perfect camera control during it as well. You just cannot be caught on a small pallet like that. That's going to be Wispy put up on his second hook. That's 3 stages, 2 fresh here for Pedro. And remember that win condition is going to be 5 stages, 3 fresh. Finding Angels now at the broken truck. Pedro trying to play that distance, get that stock up. He's got 50% of it already. Gonna go for a vault there to try to confuse Angels, and he's actually going to win that mind game a little bit. This should reward him with the full amount of stock, but no, Angels line of sighting him a little bit, able to survive a little bit longer before that power comes out. There's the power. Pedro has pallet control here. Angels, what are you gonna do? He just tries to hold W, but that's just not gonna work against the slaughtering strike. Pedro, he's just taking these downs so quickly and so easily against Ascent. Only 2 gens have been done so far, and Rob, 1 hook onto Ja or Zaphis, and Ascent are out of this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. It is looking very scary for Ascent right now. Ja does have a lot of progress on a gen. It's not complete yet, but it is looking like it's going to be somewhat soon that we'll see it completed. And this is going to be the death of Wispy. If Pedro chooses to hook, he will be doing that actually, and that's going to mark the tie condition here for both teams. And considering there's 3 gens left, this is looking like it's going to be very doable for Pedro to meet the win condition. As I just don't see us staying at this amount of hook stages for 3 more generators worth of progress. It's just not doable. So Invictus looks to be taking this win here, but we'll have to see. We've seen some pretty crazy things here in DBDLeague. And we'll have to see if maybe Ascent can pull something crazy off shortly.
Angels in chase here. He holds W away from that truck pallet as Pedro continuing to go for the stock. He wants to make absolutely sure he's getting this down as quickly as possible. Doesn't want to play M1 in that tier 1 or 2 form. As now slaughtering strike charged. This down onto Angels is the tournament life of Ascent on the line as he's playing a TL. Maybe has a filler here. Slaughtering strike charged for Pedro, and Angels holding the pallet. He gets the stun.
Ooh.
Just a little bit longer on Angels' life. That longer stun from the Dark Arrogance comes in. He's playing the longer side of the pallet now. Pedro opting to zone him. Safe play here from the Myers, who has the game in his hands. Angels with another pallet to throw here, and is just going to instantly get taken out by that slaughtering strike. Angels has 1 more dumpster pallet. Can he play this? You can't give this killer pallet control. Angels just praying that the power runs out, but it doesn't. Angels is dead, and so is Ascent in this tournament.
Wow. Really well played here by Pedro, taking the win from Ascent. And, you know, I gotta say, Prion, Ascent fought very hard. We went all the way up to set 7 because we were up at match point for quite some time in this matchup. So, you know, huge shout out to both teams for putting on an insanely amazing show. But Invictus taking the win, staying in the winter circuit. Ascent will be leaving, but man, hats off to both teams. What an incredible matchup going all the way to set 7. Very splendid.
And to think that we almost lost Invictus there is Ja walking up to Pedro as this game is over. Ja going to be backflipped there by the slaughtering strike, and it was so close, but in the end, North America just couldn't put it together as Invictus just a little bit too strong for them. They went the distance in this game 7, as with the consistency of Invictus in the end, it was just too much for Ascent. Some crucial mistakes on both the killer and the survivor side in these last few sets. Invictus was able to capitalize on them, and that is going to result in what we're seeing here, a 4-3 scoreline in favor of Invictus. They move on in the loser's bracket, proving to us that they still have some life left in them as the down comes on to Zaphis. And Rob, it's been a pleasure tonight. What a extremely long series we've casted, as these last survivors are going to be hooked up for Ascent. Last time we're going to see them.
Very well said, Prion. Yeah, just such a crazy matchup between these two teams, right? Both Ascent and Invictus put on an insane show for us, but it's coming to an end. Invictus will be taking the win. Ascent fought very hard, and we take our hats off for them. But that will be the win for Invictus. They will be staying in their winner circuit, and we'll be saying goodbye to Ascent. And yeah, it was a pleasure casting with you as well, Prion, and of course to the analysts as well for providing some really nice analytical depth to what happened in these matches. And speaking of those two jolly fellows, we're gonna go and send it off to them to take us out for tonight's stream. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prion and Rob, for casting these amazing matches for us. And I gotta say, this has been a fun ride. Invictus were off to a very strong start. Ascent started making their comeback, and then right when they thought they had it in the bag, Invictus regrouped, got their stuff back together, figured out what was going wrong, and they brought it back in the very end. A very impressive 4-3 performance.